Taata omukulembeze w'eggwanga Mukama amujjuludde mu bulamu bw'ensi eno. Enteekateeka z'okuziika Muzeeyi Amos Kaguta zigenda mu maaso. Yo poliisi olunaku olwaleero ebadde mu keetalo kubanga wano mu Kampala eriko omusajja gwekutte abadde yeefuula okubeera omuwala so nga ate musajja. Ejjinja ekutte abazadde abasse muwala waabwe lwakubanga yabadde afunye olubuto ate TORORO egugumbudde abadde baagala okwekalakaasa. Oli ku NTV ku ssaawa emu nkwaniriza nnyo munnaffe. Gino gye mitwe mikulu egiri mu gesaawa eno.
Logwenamira omwana omuto oyo.
Ettima ejjinja abazadde bakwatiddwa lwa kukuba mwana waabwe ne bamutta bamulanze kufuna lubuto. Taata wa President Museveni afudde, gavumenti emukungubagidde. Poliisi egudde ku kabondo k'ababbi babadde bajingirira nnamba za mmotoka.
Twakutte omwami ono abadde yeeyita omukyala.
Poliisi ekutte omusajja Kaggwa Ensonyi abadde ayambala ng'omukazi n'agetta abasajja. NTV ku ssaawa emu nze Hatima Nalugwa Sekaya. Ntandikidde ejjinja poliisi etaasizza omusajja ne mukazi we ku batuuze ababadde baagala okubagwa mu malaka nga babalumiriza nti be bavuddeko okufa kwa muwala waabwe. Omwana ayogerwako afudde bukya olwaleero ng'abadde mu kibiina kya mukaaga. Kigambibwa nti kitaawe w'omwana ono yeekobaanye ne mukyala we ne baliisa omwana akakanja okutuusa lwafudde nga bamulanga kufuna lubuto. Abazadde bombi poliisi bakutte ne baggalira nga kati erindirira alipoota okuva ew'omusawo ku nfa y'omwana ono ow'emyaka 2.
Michael Muwumba ne mukyala we Naziri poliisi bakutte amangu ddala nga muwala waabwe yakafa. Poliisi egamba nti bano yakugiranga ebaggalira okutuusa nga okunoonyereza kwayo ku nfa y'omwana Eunice Magoba kuwedde. Magoba w'emyaka 20 abadde asoma mu kyamukaaga mu Buwenda Primary School e Namataala, Jinja.
Omwana oyo abadde alwadde nange olwadde ng'asesema nga omutwe gumuluma kati okusesema bikwatagana batya n'okutwaliza.
Muwumba ono ye taata w'omugenzi ate Naziri muka kitaawe. Kati abatuuze balumiriza nti omukyalo ono aludde ng'atulugunya Magoba.
Omwana asiba ku lubalaza awo waaba nga niwatenduka bayigala amayumba gona baagataako baagatisiba gona. Omwana oyo nga tibamuwa mmere.
Banyumya nti Magoba abadde alina olubuto nga kye kyasinze okunyiiza bakadde be.
Bwe baamukuba lw'ovakedo. Ovakedo yaddira munne nga banne bano abaawano waka. Ne baddira ovakedo oyo bambi ne bali ovakedo we. Ye naddira ovakedo n'amukwata n'alya kuwa banne. Maama we kwe kukola ki? Kwe kumukuba. Bwe yalaba nga amukubye n'alaba nga amukosezza n'amugoba. Baamugoba aba ne taata we.
Kigambibwa nti eggulu embeera yeeyongedde okwononeka ne bamutwala mu ddwaliro gye yafiiridde.
Ekyalo kiwadde kyafutukiramu kubagoma mu bwala okukola kwa mabu justice. Tuleka tubajjeyo tubakube poliisi then ensonga natukuume tulabe postmortem kiki natugamba.
Poliisi ekkiriza abantu okuziika oluvannyuma lw'omulambo okwekebejjebwa nga kati erinza alipoota enaava ew'omusawo okusalawo kiki kyenaakolera abazadde be yakutte.
Kibi nnyo abazadde okubanga ate mwe mwakoze ekikolwa ng'ekyo. Gavumenti esiimye obuvunaanyizibwa obukoleddwa taata wa President Museveni Muzeeyi Amos Kaguta kati omugenzi. Muzeeyi Kaguta afudde nkyayaleero ku International Hospital wano mu Kampala. Muzeeyi ono wafiiridde ng'aweza egy'obukulu 96. Minisita avunaanyizibwa ku by'amawulire mu ggwanga Mary Karoro Okrut agambye nti ebyokuziika byakutegeezebwa eggwanga amangu ddala ng'ab'omu nju bamaliriza enteekateeka.
Gavumenti etuusa okusaasira ku President Yoweri Museveni ne family ye olw'okufiirwa muzeeyi Kaguta eyafudde ssaawa zino z'okumakya. Muzeeyi Kaguta abadde musajja amanyi Katonda, abadde omusajja agumira ebintu bingi nnyo, ate nga ayagala nnyo obuyigirize okulabirira ku engeri gye yayigirizamu abaana be. Ng'eggwanga tufiiriddwa muzeeyi ono, naye byaleseewo bingi nnyo bye tugenda kuyigirako, obwo ebintu bye byatandika bibeere nga bigenda mu maaso. Ebyokuziika tujja kuba nga tubinyonyola famire bw'eneemala kukola puroguramu. Tumwagaliza ekiwummulo ekirungi.
Kitalo nnyo ekya muzeeyi Kaguta. Mu mawulire amalala, poliisi eriko ekikwekweto kyekoze olwaleero mu bitundu by'e Bwayise mwekwatidde abantu 4 bajiyambeko mu kunoonyereza ku bajingirira nnamba za motoka. Poliisi ezudde nnamba za motoka ezisoba mu 100 nga zino ze zimu ku zibadde ziteekebwa ku motoka ezibadde zibbibwa.
Omusajja anayitibwa Ronald Mugenyi yakwatiddwa olunaku lw'eggulo e Bwayise ng'ateeberezebwa okuba nga yingira mu kukyusa ssaako kujingira namba plate za motoka.
Temuluka gwe mulimu gwaffe gwe tukolamu oba makanika.
Mugenyi akulembeddemu abasirikale ba poliisi olwaleero okubatwala e Bwayise gy'alina edduuka etunda sipeya ya motoka. Ategeeza nga butalina bisumbuzo era n'akkiriza abantu okumenya edduuka lino omusangiddwa ebima by'emmotoka wamu n'emipiira egya buli kika. Ono ayingidde mu dduuka n'ajjamu nnamba za motoka z'agamba nti zokka zizibadde ezize. Kyokka poliisi bw'eyingidde esanzemu nnamba za motoka endala nnyingi ssaako fotokopi za kkaadi za motoka eziwerako. Poliisi kyekoze kwe kwaza amaduuka amalala agalinaanye mu kitundu kino n'esanga namba puleti za motoka nga nnyingi eziteeberezebwa okuba enjingirire. Kiteeberezebwa nti abantu bano bagula motoka enkadde za takisi ne baziggyako nnamba zaazo ne baziteeka ku ezo baba babbye olwo ne bazitunda. Bano era kigambibwa tebakyusa n'emmitto ssaako endabirwamu za motoka zino. Poliisi eyongedde okufuuza amaduuka agawerako mwekwatidde n'omukazi ono.
Zigula ku bannannyini baazo abazikooye ne tuzijja mu neno spare parts.
Poliisi etegeeza nti motoka ezimu bano zebabba ne bazikyusa ennamba bazikozesa mu bubbi.
Bamala okubba emmotoka endala bakwata namba plate eri mu garage already gye bajja ku motoka endala ne bagiteeka ku eno ne bagenda wandibadde kyesisi namba ne bagikuutawo ne basobola okuteekawo kyesisi namba eyeefaananyiriza n'eri mu logbook ne namba plate gye balina ne bagenda walingi namba nayo ne bagikyusa amataana go ne bagakyusakyusa ne basobola okuba nti mooka yennyini bagikomyawo ku luguudo.
Abakwatiddwa batwaliddwa ku poliisi e Kawempe gye bakuumirwa kati.
Poliisi mu Kampala era eriko omusajja gwejimbye ng'ono abadde yeenanika engoye ez'ekikyala olwo n'alumba ebifo ebisanyukirwamu mu bitundu bya Kampala eby'enjawulo n'akuula abasajja ng'enjogera y'ennaku zino bweri. Kitegeezeddwa nti omusajja ono nzaalwa y'e Rwanda era ng'oluvannyuma lw'okumaliriza emisomo gye yajja kuno okunoonya ssente mu ngeri eno.
Akwatiddwa ategerekese nga Sangamwa Maxima nga yasangiddwa ku bbala ya Alfredo's Dine Out esangibwa e Bukoto mu Kampala ng'eno yabadde akaayana ne gwe yakudde. Sangamwa ajjeyo n'ag'omu buto okulaba ng'akweka obwenyi bwe ng'obuswavu bumuyinze.
Twakutte omwami ono abadde yeeyita omukyala. Appearance ye bw'omulaba olabye ddala nti mukyala n'entambula alina catwalk ng'omukazi yennyini. Twamugye kwa Alfredo's nga amaze ofuna obutakkaanya n'abasajja amu 2 oba 4 ng'amaze okunywa omwenge gwabwe okulya enkoko ebintu byabwe kati nga bakoze agreement negaana okukola okukwata.
Omukwate abadde akozesa bigoye okusobola okukola ebbeere n'akabina eby'ekimpatiira.
Kwata nga balangibwa butatuukagana na mutindo gwetaagisa.
Akawungezi k'eggulu abatuuze basize okutuula kuteesa ku nsonga zino zibagamba nti zirudde nga zibagulumbya. Kino kyakoleddwa wakati mu kwanyisiganya ebisongovu. Abatuuze babadde balumiriza Lawrence Ssegawa n'ab'ekika kye okubabuzaako emirembe. Kyakkaanyiziddwako mu lukiiko olwo nti amasabo gano gookebwe Ekyaddiridde kyabadde kyamu ku bo okulinnya kabanga lya poliisi so nga balala batemeredde akagendo okutuuka gye gali. Akulira poliisi y'Emityana Philip Mukasa yasizeewo okusooka okusaba nga tebannaba kwokya masabo gano.
Mbasabira mwenna mbeere ba mirembe Sitaani aleme bafuga mu linnya lya Yesu. Nsabe bino nga nzikiriza nti Katonda ali mu ggulu era nga mpulira nga Mukasa. Era agenda okuteeka emirembe mu kitundu kino mu linnya Yesu Kristo Mukama waffe. Yokya
olwaleero tumaze ebbanga ddene nga tuwulira Sega Waluga, Sega watta abantu, naye kati olwaleero ye yennyini avuddeyo n'agamba nti oba banteekako kino olw'ebintu bye twakola ebyekika nze kansaanyewo amasabo, era olwaleero ye yennyini akutta akabiriiti n'agwokya.
azze kukakasa banne nti talina bulabe eri bulamu bwabwe olw'okuba nti badde bamusibako ebyawongo.
Ebyo nga bikyali bityo, ab'ekitongole kya National Drug Authority baliko edduuka ly'abayindi lye baggadde nga babalanga bukyafu. Abakozi mu dduuka y'eddagala eno bagiyita pharmacy nabo bakwatiddwa. Kino kyaddidde ekikwekweto ekyakoleddwa abakulu bano mu bitundu by'Emityana okufuuza obulwaliro n'amadduuka g'eddagala agatalina bisaanyizo.
They were engaged in the practice of dispensing and supplying those classified drugs. Yet they are not qualified.
Abakwate bagenda kusimbibwa mu mbuga z'amateeka babitebye.
Ago getukujjidde mu bitundu eby'Emityana. Tugenda kuwumulamu katono. NTV ku ssaawa emu egenda mu maaso. Nkomawo n'ekitundu ekyokubiri tovaawo. Abatuuze b'e Tororo bakiguddeko, poliisi ebakubye emiggo lwa kwagala kwegugunga. Mu ZUNGULU tosubwa okulaba abayizi ssente bwe zibabuze ekiruyi ne bakimalira ku mmere y'oku muliraano.
Olugero lwa leero lukutuusibwako
Nasirika amanya ekikere bakibikira kwa kyeya ne kikaaba ku nkuba. Ekikere ennaku yakyo kigisiba ku mwoyo wetonya ne kikaabira abantu baakyo abaafa mu kyeya. N'abantu bangi ennaku zaabwe tebaziraga buli kiseera awatali nsonga nnene.
All the confidence.
Surprises do not discriminate. Affection doesn't discriminate. And at Worried, we don't discriminate either. You can be on any network and still use Worried Pesa. With Worried Pesa, you can send money instantly from any network to any network. Unconditionally. Register at any Worried Pesa outlet today, no matter what network you're on.
Worried. Make it happen. No one feels the motherland like we do. So tune in every day at 6 p.m. and Fridays from 11 p.m. for the best in homegrown music. Only on NTV, the station that celebrates local music talent.
Embeera y'abasajja bano essuubi nga lyakugwamu mama bana abasajja bana abasajja abanaatera n'okujja kusigiriza ffe ekiro basituleko emiwumbo gy'emmere bagitwale
sogera byange kibanda bana bagamba nga bagamba ne bwagala nkubulira ebyange jatugenda emyanzi
mpulira banyumya babeera bakujerega waliko omusawo w'ekinansi South Africa baba bakujerega obituufu
baba banjerega
oyo mufere mubbi yennyini yeetaaga miggo
omuntu wa bulijjo tomuzannyirangako abeeranga dormant volcano.
Bwemba mukkiriza nina takuwa mugiyita
ate takuwa gobeera mugoberezi tolowooza nti buli mulimo oyogerera omusiraamu singa nakubuuza nti Katonda yagamba bw'ati yagamba atya.
Oba oli pasita ng'okyawa olimba obba oyenda olina abakazi basatu. Please, heaven is waiting for you. One day you'll pay and soon your time is out.
Otiisa mmoni.
Sitiisa nkubuulira Yesu talimba.
Ebintu mbimala mulundi gumu kati what I love peace.
Gwokola byo.
Wegase n'omusajja mutwale mabi.
Okyali ku NTV ku ssaawa ekitundu kyaffe ekyokubiri olwaleero kyekino. Abatuuze b'e Tororo olunaku lwajjo bakulwawo nga balulojja oluvannyuma lwa poliisi ekkakkanya obujagalalo okubalirika emigobante. Bano poliisi yabadde bagumbulula okuva ku kitebe kya district we babadde bagombye nga kwotadde n'okukola effujjo nga bawakanya kye bayise obulyake ko n'okubabuzaabuza ku bikwatagana ne project eyabaweebwa okuyamba abatalina mwasirizi.
Abasajja bano n'abakazi bavudde Namwaya ekiri mu ggombolola y'e Nagongera e Tororo nga babadde bazze kwetaba mu lukiiko olwabadde luyitiddwa omubaka wa pulezidenti erudde eyo. Olukiiko lwabadde lugendereddwamu okugonjoola obutakkaanya bwe balina eri abamu ku batwala disitulikiti y'e Tororo be balumiriza okwekuba n'okweza pulojekiti ya Namwaya Italia Solide. Project eyogerwako yatandikibwa omusumba Joseph Kicham n'abatuuze abamu mu mwaka gwa 2000. Bano bwe batuuse ku kitebe kya disitulikiti poliisi n'ebagaana okuyingira mu kisenge awabadde wategekeddwa okuteeseza era wano kwe kuva mu mbeera ne batandika okwekyanga.
Among you people there is a group which has been selected who will personally attend the meeting.
Why now Namwaya you get at the district 15 people? Can you have only 15 corner inches to get a project? A multi-million project of 1.8 billion.
Kino balabye tekibamalidde okutandika okuyimbira waggulu nga bwe bakuba engoma n'enduulu ekyawaliriza ababadde bateesa munda olukiiko okuliyimiriza. Poliisi yagezezaako okwogera nabo mu bukkakkamu naye ne bagaana okwekomako ekyaleetedde abasirikale okubatwala nga Nabugi si mufungize. Wakati mu kavuvuŋŋaano kano abavubuka baakubiddwa emizibu nga waliwo ne muzeeyi omu eyalumiziddwa. Bababiri Godfrey ne munne omuyitale bebalumiriza okwagala okweza pulojekiti y'ekyalo baddusiddwawo mu mmotoka za buyonjo wakati mu nkuba eyabadde efudde emba.
Ago gavudde Tororo. Abagamba nti Uganda y'emu ku nsi ezisinga okubaamu balujuju bandiba batuufu. Kyangu nnyo wano okusanga omuntu abbulukuse mu myaka naye nga byayogera tebitegeerekeka oba okukwatagana. Mu nsi yattu eno y'emu era mw'osanga n'abayizi abalemereddwa okusasula ebisale by'essomero olw'ekiruyi ne bakimalira ku mmere y'abantu. Zungulu.
You come to the center.
Yawuta supu w'abannansi mu katale.
Yali enkoko embisi bw'ayita mu kamooli.
Gasireka busindisi binne baluwali erwa.
Zungululu. Basebo ne banyabo nga tetunagenda ku mulemwa mukulu gwa lunaku lwa leero ketusooke tubanjulire ekikonde Kasameme. Mu nsonda eya bbulu bwe muli omwana mulenzi akiikiridde Tanzania ate mu nsonda emyufu bwe muli Munnayuganda. Abanyumirwa omuzannyo guno ogw'ebikonde ng'ono omwami ne mbatumira. Ajja okutujja omuntu eŋŋumi mu nkoona. Era ntwala omukisa guno okwetondera mwenna abadde banyumirwa omuzannyo guno naye olw'obudde ebadde curtain raiser katugende ku mulamwa gw'olunaku olwaleero era nga si mulala be bayizi b'e Makerere abakyemulugunya olwa 60%. Kitalo nnyo olw'abayizi b'e Makerere okuba nga beemulugunyiriza 60% yaabwe ne bagitwala kubakola emirimu gyabwe ab'omu kikoni era nga bakulu bannaffe ab'omu kikoni twalumiddwa wamu nammwe olwagaana agagudde mu byokunywa byammwe n'ebyokulya obubaka obw'okusaasira bwo bukyayiika bungi ddala. Munange Nalongo Katogonga walabye suwani za gano zaasa. Kibinyo. Mukulu kyazze naawe walabye agaana okunywa sodawo. Mukadde lwemwa. Bambi agaana ne gagwa mu saafiwo. Kitalo nnyo. Ate twongera n'okwebaza mmwe abasobodde okutaasaawo ebintu byammwe. Nga muna akaana essigiri yo kagitaasizza. Muzeeyi gwe ebintu byo byawonye bitya?
Bibase bunalabye abaana bandi bubi nga abandumbye. Kwe kuyingira munda wano. Nayingidde munda ninzijayo jambi eyokubiri.
Ate bambi abapoliisi abandi bayambi bakoowu.
Irikayo ennyini se omukama wange.
Lengera abapoliisi baffe abalina otukuuma.
Kati akuba bidomola akuba ngoma. Ono banywedde.
Oba bakuba bidomola kuyita gwanga mujje.
Ngatukwata batutulugunya. Kati atamidde anakola atyo omulimu.
Niyo abapoliisi bamwegaana.
Kati kamujja mu mali omusajja mali oli ajolu kati atanzala okulya. Mujje musebo teke eripa. Eno si we yanyweredde. Genda muyongereyo ebise. Muyongereyo.
Naye nno omusajja mumukwata empola kubanga mukijjukire nti poliisi eba gavumenti namba. Era nga nammwe bwe mulabye gavumenti namba bwe bagireebeesezza ng'ekiveera kya kasasi. Ffenna twewombeekere wamu Pastor Sam Lyomoki atuwe essaala ey'omukisa oba twalisoose kuyimbamu kayimba ka Mwoyo Mutuukirivu.
Because I know he holds my future and life is worth a living just because he lives.
Kakati Lyomoki tandika okusaba.
For this time we want to thank you for our leader, the president of this country, His Excellency Kaguta Museveni.
Atosabiddemu presidenti. Naye kakasa nti essaala gy'osaba tekutwaza mu kkomera.
The things that which he has uttered that are not worth it, that you may put upon him a burden.
Nga neeraliikiridde. Lyomoki gwe tokolima bukolimi. Genda maaso naye yanguwa.
Because we know, Father, the time has come for a new leadership in this country.
Kati otandise n'okusalirawo Mukama ekyokukola.
This president is there for just a few years, 3 years,
10 years, 20 years, 50 years.
Oh, I don't know, but according to your purposes, you have shown us clearly that the time has come for him to go.
Byonna obisanga wano ku NTV ku ssaawa emu. Mu kiseera kino katulaba akatale k'ensimbi nga bwe kayimiridde olwaleero. NTV ku ssaawa emu. Katuwummulemu katono nkomewo n'agava mu nsiika y'ebyemizannyo tovaawo.
Get the inside track on all things football. To become a Guinness VIP, register online at m.guinnessvip.com. Membership is free. Guinness VIP. Connect and share your passion.
Money Clinic with Centenary Bank.
Transfer money from my account to another account anytime, anywhere.
Get Cente Mobile and let's move with you. Centenary Bank.
NTV Sport is brought to you by.
Here we go. Now is what happens in the next 90 minutes. This one promises to be a classic.
NTV ku ssaawa emu gano ge mawulire ag'ebyemizannyo. Jako Jusila ne Ashraf Bukenya olwaleero lwe beepimye buli omu okumanya obuzito bwe nga beetegekera okwambalagana mu mpaka z'omuzannyo gw'ensambagere oba kickboxing ezigenda okuba eza Intercontinental Welterweight ezigenda okubeera wali ku Freedom City olunaku olw'enkya. Bano buli omu awera kusomesa munne somo.
Omusajja ndabye fight ze naye ate ekyomukisa omubi tasobodde kulaba ku zange kubanga kati webituuse tekyali kadde konna takyalina kyakwekwasa nange sikyalina kyakwekwasa tulindiridde essaawa yokka.
I'm not scared or stressful or anything. It's a normal Saturday for me. He has a mustache, beard, he has 2 legs, 2 arms, and he weighs as much as I.
Very good build-up. He's right in the thick of it now. He picks the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity. Unbelievable! He can't believe it either. If you're watching this at home, that's how it's done.
Ag'ebyemizannyo ku NTV ku ssaawa emu olwaleero bwe gagenze nkomekerereza wano. Wagenda kubeerayo amawulire mu lulimi Olungereza nga bulijjo tova ku NTV sula bulungi weraba.
NTV, turning on your world.
No one feels the motherland like we do. So tune in every day at 6 p.m. and Fridays from 11 p.m. for the best in homegrown music. Only on NTV, the station that celebrates local music talent.
To be honest, it's one of the most scary genres of music for me. For me every day. Irifemasi nisu tadi magero. To be honest, it's one of the most scary genres of music for me. For me every day. Irifemasi nisu Kadi magero.
It's party time every day at 4:30 p.m. Feel the music. Try out your favorite dance strokes. Watch the latest music videos from artists around the world as you dance to the beat.
Girl, you got me screaming fiesta. Body language saying whatever.
Only on The Beat, Monday to Friday on NTV, your official groove station. No one feels the motherland like we do. So tune in every day at 6 p.m. and Fridays from 11 p.m. for the best in homegrown music. Only on NTV, the station that celebrates local music talent. No one feels
Ideally, we all have the right to express our opinions and views truthfully and openly.
Atele lom tugenda katongole mbukasam.
Kampala bwerere. Mwansomo. Bazi.
The discussion is still going on in the bus.
Tulina okugumira challenges ezimu gwe tuba tulina okugoba abatembeeyi mwami lukwaga agumaga abatembeeyi mugende no mbadde ndala kunyonyola omukulu mbadde ndala kunyonyola omwami yagambye nti meya lukwago ye meya omutuufu
gavumenti ekutte lukwago emunyigira mu nsonga takyekyusa.
Welcome back to Minibus Kyogereko.
Singa omusajja abankwana nga njagala sifa ku kya ssente wabula nfa ku mbeera yeyisa
alimba ono
This is Minibus Kyogereko.
Top number 2 was the Now Special Media Night. Now the Media Night, as the press, as the Hall of Media, they were definitely rewarded by Now Special. It's always a good time.
This is NTV. This is NTV. This is NTV. This is NTV. This is NTV.
Stop number 2 was the now special media night. Now the media night, as the press, as the Hall of Media, they were definitely rewarded by
This is NTV. This is NTV.
Welcome to the show, guys. I'm glad you're all waiting to see what happened last week. What went down on login? Well, where do I start? There's a lot that went on last week. We went so many places. We had so many parties. And I was spoiled for choice. But anyways, what's making it onto the show this week? Starting off with NTV farewell, Joe Munene farewell party. Now, wait, what? Somebody and welcome to the login, and I'm sure you guys are wondering where I'm at right now. Right now I'm at Jazzville. Sad note, we are saying farewell to a special person to us in management. That is our general manager, Joe Munene, who's moving on to greater heights. However, we are happy to be welcoming yet another managing director, and that is Agnes Asimwe, a lady in our midst. As the general manager or managing director, I do definitely like a lady on top. Leaders, it's all for the ladies. Anyways, right now we all here. We have the whole NTV team in the building. They're all here enjoying a good time. We have the HODs. We have Joe himself in the building. We have Agnes in the house. You know, you can check out everything that we're going to enjoy. We have food, we have drinks. It's crazy, but I'll keep you updated with what's happening. Give it a lot. The highlight of the night was when Joe was honored and given presents by the NTV employees and all the HODs.
If you want to hide a secret, from an African, hide it in a book. We take this opportunity to present him with a book so that he can keep reading when he goes back to Kenya.
Oh, thank you.
It was definitely a great going away present because he will never forget what a real Ugandan man looks like. He got a kanzu, a jacket, and an old man stick plus the hat. He looked good in that outfit.
Finally, as you go home, the 130 staff from Uganda have all appended their signatures. Those who were in Kamwenge and could not sign, we believe part of you signed this present that we have to give you.
Just to say, I really appreciate these gifts. I love the books, I love the listening, and these I will cherish. I will hang these somewhere special. Thank you, thank you.
It was a night of sending one off and welcoming one in. It was definitely a good night, and it's a moment that we will all not forget.
There's a party going on right here. A celebration lasting about the years. And your laughter too. We gonna celebrate the party with you. Come on, celebration. Have a good time. Celebration. We gonna celebrate.
As you know, we are over here at Jazzville having a good time. The NTV, the whole of NTV staff party. We're saying goodbye to our GM and also welcoming a new MD. And it's definitely fun. Everyone is having fun. We've eaten, we've had food. We had plenty of food. There's been chicken, meat, potatoes, everything. I'm telling you, right now I'm full and I'm speaking like a happy person. I'm definitely full of. We've seen people dance, they've cut the cake. You know, we've had the GM dance, we've seen him going all the way down. I'm telling you, it's popping up in here. It's crazy, I'm loving it. But yeah, the night is still going on because there's still plenty of drinks, there's still plenty of food to eat. There's still a lot going on because the cake is even still right there, all right? So I'm gonna go back and have some fun. nice, isn't it? Anyways, I'm going to take a quick break, but do not go anywhere because Logan will be right back.
This is NTV.
Top number 2 was the now special media night. Now the media night, as the press, as the Hall of Media, they were definitely rewarded by now special.
It's always a good time. It's always a good time. Woke up on the right side of the bed. What's up with this Prince song inside my head? Hands up if you're down to get down tonight. 'Cause it's always a good time. Slept in all my clothes like I didn't care. Hopped into a cab, take me anywhere. I'm in if you're down to get down tonight. 'Cause it's always a good time. Good morning, good night. I wake up at twilight. It's gonna be alright. We don't even have to try.
Now special felt like the need to give back to the journalists, to the reporters, to the presenters. It was definitely cool because some people are on TV themselves. They got some awards awarded to them, journalists and reporters.
The winner in this category is to give your hand. I'll call Mr. Navi to commemorate to hand over this award.
I think these guys have been consistent, and the panel of our judges agreed that this story was great. And since some members of the audience agree, we are very happy. We cannot be accused of drinking because we don't drink. Thank you very much.
A very interesting story. How did you come up with it? I mean, what drove you to just go out there and do that specific one?
It was one time when I was really a little bit tired after filing my story in the evening, and I was going home, seated in a taxi. Then all of a sudden I hear men busy disguising a lady who was a conductor, and I picked interest. Just, could you help me with your number? Maybe she thought I was interested in something else, but I told her, you know what? I'll get back to you. And I got back to her and said, I want to profile you, what you go through, the challenges, because there are so many girls out there who are seated and begging and maybe taking other routes in order to earn a living. So I said, I will. And I did it.
Hi, I'm Bella from 92.7 Bob, your Total Country station. And in case you're loving my outfit, hey, there's going to be lots more like this if you join us this Valentine, 14th of February. Yeah, it's going to be a Thursday, and you know we're all about country music. So we're doing it country style, starting 6 p.m. till late. All you friends, lovers, wannabe lovers of country music, even you doubting Thomases, Just make it a date to be there. 20,000 shillings is all you need to get in, and that will get you a free drink. In the meantime, if you remember to keep your dress code country, add lots of red like I have, you could stand a chance to win yourself some really awesome gift hampers. Meantime, we're going to be enjoying lots of live country music. If your voice is up to it, you could get to serenade your partner, or all of us will be having ourselves a fabulous time there.
Let's take another quick break, but do not go anywhere because there's more coming.
The act of lifting term limits was an act of meticulous constitutionalism.
The government of Uganda can't just watch.
This has been told us why he's abandoning his constituency.
I'm saying that the problem is here. Call out the elite. Therefore, this whole issue, I call it nonsense.
So a bit in some confusion. You don't admit problems in NRM.
We'll take lessons.
The stakes in Eastern Congo are very high.
There is no law in Uganda that stops even a member of opposition from holding a gun. Yes, they are. They've been there since the stocks there. They've been there more than any other country.
This is NTV.
So I guess you guys are all wondering where I'm at right now. Behind me says the Mask Lounge. Next to me, there's a man next to me. You all know who this man is.
Your girlfriend's best DJ in the building, 1 time, 2 time, DJ 8 Man in your face. What's up, Logan, NTV? How we do?
So apparently, DJ 8 Man is launching a fragrance. How are you doing, Sebo?
Chilling, everything crisp. You know nobody has seen me without a hat before, eh?
I just broke it right now. So tell us
the
about...
ladies know it best. I don't know about you.
Anyway, so DJ 8 Man, tell us about tonight. What's going on tonight?
Tonight is a brand new night in Kampala. It's called Fragrance. Fragrance, when we say fragrance, everybody thinks, oh, perfume, bitchy, what? No. The thing about fragrance is feeling nice. When you put on your nice perfume, people tell you, hey, Robin. So that's what it's about. It is about being nice with yourself and, you know, having fun with your people that are nice. That's what fragrance is about. We brought in a DJ, DJ Q, London premier DJ. He's going to be repping for us tonight. I'm not going to do a lot of DJing because everybody knows what I can do. We need to push other Uganda, but this guy is Uganda, but he says in London. There's a lot of sexy ladies. There's a lot of glamour. There's a lot of elegance. DJ 8 Man exclusive, Mr. Silverback, your mama's best cook food. Sup?
Anyways, we're here at the Mask Lounge and we'll be letting you know about much more that's happening tonight because I feel like I smell good and I need to go see how everybody else smells like. Ciao, ciao. Tonight,
you're gonna expect everything from Afrobeats, hip hop, R&B, funky house, and everything. Really come and have a good time.
So, what do you think about the nightlife in Uganda right now?
It's crazy. Everywhere is packed out. It's crazy.
So beautiful tonight.
Thank you.
What do you think about this night tonight?
I think it's fabulous.
What's your name?
Leon.
Leon, you're looking beautiful.
Thank you.
What What are you thinking about the night tonight?
It's so awesome. I can't say it now, seriously. We are having a good time.
Wind up my body. Yeah, you guys know how to party, man. These girls looking sexy, doing it. Give it up.
Put your hands up. Can you just step? Come on. One time, two times, three times. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Together. To the left. Look out there. Everybody go. Go. To the right. Look at you. Ladies, get low. 1 feet. 1 down low. Low.
Request jangu okwekule, jangu okwekule, obawakoa baby, mambi kankukwekule. I just wanted to say thank you so much, you guys. I'm very, very overwhelmed by the response. Of course, I feel like Uganda is the same with Zambia, really. I don't feel like I'm away from home, you know. I feel like I'm just maybe in the next town or something because of the way you people are friendly, the way I was welcomed at the airport. And I also want to say thanks to Bobby Wine as well. I just want to say thank you so much. He's one of the few artists that came to the airport, well, if not the only one. He came to the airport to welcome me. I was very, very humbled. Of course, Uganda has very, very handsome men, so all the men that will come for the show will be my Valentine. Pakumfula no kumono mubili oh twali fe babili numba eno ankana pakumfula no kumono mubili. Hi, this is Mampi and you're watching Login.
Kwene embeera y'abasajja bano
essuubi nga lyakugwamu mama
bano abasajja abanaatera n'okujja kusigiriza ffe ekiro basituleko emiwumbo gy'emmere bagitwale sogera byange kibanda bana bagamba nga bweyagala nkubulira ebyange jatugenda emyanzi
mpulira banyumya babeera bakujerega waliko omusawo w'ekinansi South Africa baba bakujerega obituufu
baba banjerega oyo mufere mubbi yennyini yeetaaga miggo omuntu wa bulijjo tomuzannyirangako abeeranga dormant volcano
bwemba mukkiriza nina takuwa mugiyita
ate takuwa gobeera mugoberezi tolowooza nti buli mulimo oyogerera omusiraamu singa naakubuuza nti katonda yagamba atya
oba oli pasita ng'okyawa olimba obba oyenda olina abakazi basatu please heaven is waiting for you. One day you'll pay and soon your time is out.
Otiisa mmoni.
Sitiisa. Nkubulira Yesu talimba.
Ebintu mbimala mulundi gumu. Kati what I love peace.
Gwokola byo.
Wegase n'omusajja mutwale mabi.
This is NTV.
And the latest being the meeting of members of the formerly integrated group CNDP in April this year under the name of March 23rd Movement or M23. Tonight I'll be discussing the cause of the conflicts, the latest conflict with the Bertrand Bisimwa, who is in Kampala to attend the peace negotiations with the Kinshasa government under Uganda government's mediation. Mr. Bertrand Bisimwa is spokesperson of the M23. Very nice to have you on the spot tonight.
Thank you.
We also have with Mr. Bisimwa, we have Jean-Baptiste Rudaseswa, who is legal advisor of the M23. Very nice to have you on the spot tonight. Let me start with the question of you've been in Kampala for the last 1 week, is that correct?
Yes.
Why in Kampala?
Yes, we came to Kampala. It was on 7th December. Until now we are in Kampala.
What are you doing in Kampala?
Négocier avec le gouvernement congolais.
Did I need to announce to our viewers that the show is being done in both French and English because you're more comfortable with French? Yes. You speak some English as well, and you speak both French and English, so you'll be coming in. Go ahead.
Yes, nous sommes à Kampala depuis le 7 décembre de ce mois, donc de cette année. Nous négocions avec le gouvernement congolais pour amener la paix chez nous. Comme vous savez, nous étions en train de nous battre avec le gouvernement congolais depuis le mois de mai de cette année. Et nous avons décidé, les deux parties, de pouvoir mettre fin à la guerre et amener la paix chez nous.
Jean, help us understand.
We are here since the 7th of this month. We came on the invitation of the international community of the Great Lakes region because they want us to talk to the government of DRC. We have been asking for this since the beginning of the war that was imposed on us by the government. And after the war started, we decided to carry on because we were acting in self-defense. But at a certain point, the heads of state of the institution that I've just mentioned,
ICGLR,
yes, decided that we need to pull back from all captured areas and start direct talks with the government of DRC. So we are here in this framework of talks, and we hope on our side that we will achieve the results that they are expecting from us.
Conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo is old. You told me before we came on air that you joined the revolution in 1996. That's almost 16 years ago. Today is 2012. We're closing in on 2013. Why are you fighting? Why can't Congo settle?
Merci. Nous nous battons pour le bien-être de la population congolaise. Comme vous savez, depuis l'indépendance, le peuple congolais n'a jamais réussi à s'organiser comme il se doit. Nous n'avons jamais réussi à créer un État au Congo. Nous n'avons jamais réussi à mettre sur pied une gouvernance au sein du pays. Nous n'avons jamais réussi à prendre en charge les peuples congolais et à définir une vision pour notre pays. Nous nous battons pour cela. Ce sont des valeurs que nous pensons que nous devons défendre, nous comme peuple congolais.
Yes, we are fighting for rights of people. We are fighting for the good of the Congolese people. Since independence, Congolese governments have failed to bring about peace, harmony in the society, to have the basic infrastructure and basic needs that a public service is supposed to deliver to its people. So see, the war has lasted. But yes, I concur with those. But since the main causes of the war are still there, the main causes that led people to take up arms and fight are there, I think you cannot expect the war to finish.
But you started this conflict in 1996. You're part of the group that fought in 1996. And those things you're saying you're fighting for haven't been achieved. What does a new war really achieve?
Well, people may say that some things have been achieved, but I think the evidence on the ground speaks for themselves. And you will concur with me. You have been in DRC several times. This is a country where you have no basic infrastructure. This is a country where there is no governance at all. This is a country where the public service...
You are Congolese.
Yes.
Actually, what hasn't changed is the number of Congolese, ordinary Congolese, who are suffering. The latest on Tuesday, when you met with the Congo government delegation and the Minister Shibanda, Foreign Affairs Minister Shibanda, was giving his response to your statement of Sunday, he said he accused you of conducting rapes, of torture, of looting, which is the story that Congo has known ever since Almost was created. So what difference does N23 make?
Vous savez, ces rapports sur lesquels se fonde le gouvernement congolais pour nous accuser, ce sont des rapports qui sont fondés sur des documents de propagande conçus par les services de renseignement du gouvernement congolais. Donc c'est des documents de propagande qui n'ont jamais été vérifiés sur le terrain. Nous avons écrit à la CIRGL pour que la CIRGL vienne vérifier les allégations qui ont été portées contre nous. Le gouvernement congolais siège au sein de la CIRGL. C'était l'occasion pour le gouvernement congolais, s'il croyait à ces allégations, de venir les vérifier sur le terrain. Le gouvernement n'a jamais su activer le mécanisme au sein de la CIRGL pour venir vérifier ces allégations. Et le gouvernement l'a fait volontairement, parce qu'il savait très bien qu'une fois une commission d'enquête sur le terrain allait vérifier ces allégations, les trouverait non fondées. C'est pourquoi le gouvernement n'a pas été très actif ou très chaud pour activer le mécanisme nécessaire au sein de la CIRGL pour venir vérifier les allégations sur le terrain.
These allegations that were brought by Chibanda during the Tuesday meeting, our position is that this is our reports that are based on rumors and fabricated evidence by Kabila's services.
Kabila doesn't control the United Nations. The United Nations gave out a report, a series of reports, and that is exactly the same thing. Human Rights Watch.
If you read the report by the group of experts of United Nations, you concur with me that their sources, most of their sources, they are anonymous, and others they cite the security services of Kabila. So we, as a movement, we have formally requested in writing to the member states of the International Conference on Great Lakes region to deploy a force that is neutral, a kind of a commission of inquiry to investigate the allegation on the ground.
But you saw exactly what happened the moment you pulled out of Goma. Ordinary Congolese, the people of Goma, came onto the streets to celebrate that you had walked out of the town. Now, say something about what they think of you.
Well, you know, these people are manipulated. Even when we captured Goma, they came to celebrate that Goma is captured. So I do not know if people saw the first, ignored the first images and saw the last images. So this is it is equally true, and it can be verified. What we are saying is that if anybody has a single accusation against M23, let him come ahead, present credible evidence so that it can be verified.
You've been accused of looting and taking property illegally. Particularly, Chibanda talked about your raid on the Central Bank of Congo, the Goma branch headquarters. They raise questions about vehicles, government vehicles, and vehicles belonging to some private individuals in Goma town.
Vous savez, quand nous avons quitté la ville de Goma, beaucoup de gens nous ont dit c'est la première fois que nous voyons une rébellion qui contrôle pendant plus d'une semaine. Et il y trouve de l'argent dans les banques et il s'en va sans pour autant emporter cet argent-là. Il y avait plus de 10 milliards, je crois 10 millions de dollars dans la banque centrale que nous avons trouvé là-bas. Nous n'avons pas emporté un seul euro. Et ce sont des faits qui sont là, qui sont vérifiables. Et il parle des véhicules que nous avons emportés. Il faut lui poser la question de savoir où étaient ces véhicules-là lorsque l'administration qui était là a pris fuite, lorsque les autorités ont pris fuite. Ce sont des véhicules que nous avons trouvés dans des maisons de particuliers déjà vendus à des particuliers, vendus par le gouverneur de province, vendus par le maire de la ville, vendus par l'administration locale à des citoyens. Il y a d'autres qui n'étaient même pas vendus, mais dont on changeait tout simplement, on faisait la mutation de nom sur les documents des propriétés. Et lorsque nous avons récupéré ces véhicules-là, des forces, nous sommes allés récupérer dans les enclos de la population, on a parlé à des pillages de véhicules.
When we pulled back from Goma, many people were asking questions to know why people can control a town and not even root a single coin in banks, whereas they were controlling them.
What about the Central Bank of Congo?
The Central Bank of Congo was never looted by M23.
Who looted it?
Nobody looted it, and there are evidence. The provincial director of the bank himself, after like 2 or 3 days after the withdrawal of M23, called the press, addressed the press, thanked MONUSCO, which is the United Nations mission deployed in Congo for stabilization, between brackets, and
put that between brackets.
Yeah, because they are not there to stabilize. They are there to destabilize. So if I do not put it in brackets, it means that I'm being an accomplice of this. So for us, MONUSCO is not a stabilization force. It's a destabilizing factor, and it is anyway like any other negative force that is deployed there. When we withdrew from Goma, the vehicles they are talking about, the vehicles we took were the vehicles for the army, which is obvious. This was the vehicles found on the others are for the police. These vehicles are being used by the police of the M23 because we have a very big area we control and a very big population we cater for. As for private properties, I think we are asking everybody to provide a single evidence. We even aired so many announcements to local radios and TVs, that if anybody knows where M23 took a private property, that they should come ahead and report it so that this vehicle can be recovered. But as for what they say, I may say, and will continue to say it, truth has to come to broad daylight. We are not looters. If we were looters, we would have looted everything that was there, because we had control of Goma since the 20th, and we left Goma after. So it's not a time that
we didn't know that Chibanda was lying when he said you looted the Central Bank of Congo.
I doubt he did not say that we looted the bank. I think he was misunderstood. In the statement I saw that he read, that accusation was not there, because it's the government of Congo that made it clear that no single coin was taken from the central bank.
We need to take a quick break here and then come back to this discussion. We have other issues to raise about taxation and the complaints about you taxing. People have already been taxed by the government in Kinshasa. We'll be right back.
This is NTV.
Pastor Jethro is a good man. He'll make a great husband.
Deacon, someone has been stealing from the church.
Julia starts this season bedridden.
Why do you keep interrupting?
Now is not the time. She is obviously unwell.
I said I'm sorry.
I'm not here to condemn you.
The bad side of Pastor Jethro keeps unveiling.
What is this emergency that could not wait?
You have a cockroach problem that I can help you with. And you must be Ruth.
And what kind of a mother are you anyway? No one. He had me. Until you just slipped in and became his shoulder to lean on.
Ask your question.
Demigods, showing Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m.
You're watching On the Spot on NTV, and tonight we have Bertrand Basima, who is spokesperson of the rebel M23, and Jean-Baptiste Rudaseswa, who is the M23 legal advisor. We're continuing our discussion on the conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The latest exploded in April this year, on Easter Sunday actually, Easter Sunday morning, that's when he started fighting again, raising concerns that implementation of the March 23rd Agreement 2009 had not been fully followed by the government in Kinshasa. Let's go back a little to the question of why exactly you're fighting. Because every rebel group that has emerged in the Democratic Republic of Congo has claimed that it is fighting for the Congo. But your conflict has a different twist to it. That you're fighting partly for Kinyarwanda speaking peoples of Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. Earlier we had the Banyamulenge. I've seen attempts to associate with the Hema and the Lendu to make a bigger front in Eastern. Why are you fighting?
La cause est beaucoup plus grande que la cause des communautés Banyarwanda du Congo. Évidemment, il faut dire que les Banyarwanda, c'est vrai, ils ont une certaine particularité dans la discrimination dont ils font l'objet au Congo. Mais il faut dire que la cause est nationale, parce qu'il s'agit d'un problème de gouvernance du pays. Et nous nous battons actuellement parce que tout simplement nous avons signé un accord avec le gouvernement congolais en 2009, le 23 mars 2009, que le gouvernement congolais n'a pas respecté 3 ans après. Et nous avons demandé au gouvernement congolais de respecter les engagements, de les appliquer sur le terrain. Le gouvernement congolais nous a opposé les armes. Le gouvernement congolais a décidé de nous faire la guerre, pour nous faire taire. Et depuis lors, nous nous défendons contre l'armée gouvernementale. L'option militaire et l'option du gouvernement congolais, il a dit sur les médias, il a dit à la place publique, nous arrêter parce que notre place n'était pas dans l'armée, notre place n'était pas dans la société congolaise, mais notre place était dans la prison. Ça, ce sont les mots du gouvernement congolais. Depuis lors, nous nous défendons contre le gouvernement congolais.
Yes, actually the issue is broader and bigger than how you have presented it. Though the Kinyarwanda speaking population in the eastern part of DRC is also an issue of importance, and you know, there are people who they are discriminated, their security, their physical security is not guaranteed, they are killed and excluded from the national business or life, if I may use this word. But the problem is broader and is national. We are fighting for good governance to be in the Congo. We are fighting for the rights of all those people who are marginalized.
But you're fighting an elected government, Mr. Biseswe.
Elected government, I may say yes and no. You people from the media, you are the ones that give us all the information gathered by the observers of elections. These are not elections, they are just show that
that people in Eastern Congo didn't participate in the elections?
Well, some did, some didn't, and what they opted for, what they chose, was not what was announced as a final result of the election. So Kabila rigged the elections, everybody knows it. Evidence are overwhelming on this subject matter. But what we are saying is that we are not fighting a legitimate government election, like you say, but we are fighting for the rights of the people. So if you are claiming to be legitimate, to have power from the population, to have power from the people, then you have rights and obligations towards those people. And what the government is doing, actually I want to embark very long on this while we resumed fighting. We signed a peace agreement with the government on March 23rd, 2009. The agreement is there. The government signed it in good faith. This agreement was also co-signed by us and the United Nations and the African Union.
You had a different name then. You're called CNDP. Would that be
by then we were CNDP, but there were also other armed groups that signed another agreement with the government. So there were two agreements actually signed on the same date, but whose actors were not the same because of all these problems we are trying to explain to the world. The government creates these armed groups. It created them and armed them and trained them to come and fight us. And when
which groups? Like which groups?
Like Pareko, which has joined M23 today. This was a group associated to the government.
So how can government create a group and then the group ends up joining you?
Yeah, exactly, because they never respect their word. They make commitments, they never respect them, and after they fall out with the former allies, that's when you see today's enemies.
Isn't it actually you, Jean, that and your group that signed a bad agreement? Because the government says it has moved towards implementation of that agreement. It integrated 5,300 soldiers from CNDP to the National Army.
Let me explain a bit. We all know the structure of the army of any country of the world. It works almost the same. These people, though the government claims that they have integrated 5,000 and some hundreds of soldiers and police, but they have never been integrated in traditional structure of the army. They will not be able to give us one single case or one single example of somebody that was deployed in the army headquarters, being in Kinshasa, in Goma, or in Bukavu. They created a special structure that was not part of the existing structure. They were tasked to carry out operations, and when they declared that these operations were over, all those people did not find somewhere to go because they were not in the existing.
Is that led to the mutiny?
Not that only. You know, the agreement has so many areas that the government had to look into and find solutions to it, including the repatriation of refugees that have been outside Congo, in here in Uganda, in Rwanda, in Burundi, and other neighboring countries since 16 years. In 3 years after we signed the peace deal, no single refugee was repatriated. We were talking about the
failure of the government of Congo or a failure of UNHCR Congo, because you negotiated this to include UNHCR, the Congolese government, and the Rwandan government especially.
Well, how it is done normally, it's the government, the requesting government, that initiates all these contacts with the other parties, the host country of the refugees and the UNHCR. That's why they signed a tripartite agreement. But since those agreements were signed, though they were signed after a very long time and after insisting from our side, but since the agreements were signed, since the legal framework was there, no single refugee was repatriated, though the refugees themselves expressed the wish to go back home. But it's up to the government and the UNHCR to find means of transport and to accompany those people where they will go, so that they may integrate in the normal life as they used to.
But your fighting is, instead of reducing the number of refugees, creating more refugees. Estimates now indicate that between 500,000 and 800,000 Congolese have been displaced because of the resumption of war. Can you respond to that? Can you respond after a short break? We'll be right back. Let's come back after a short break.
Your Saturday afternoons just got better on NTV with Exposed. Join Katz and the Platinum DJs as they bring you some mad DJ skills and crazy video mixes.
You're now rocking with the best. Catch us every Saturday as we live. We take you through an experience you'll never forget.
Remember to call in with your music requests and also get a chance to win some incredible goodies. Saturday from 1:30 p.m. only on NTV, the station that digs your music.
My God is good, yo.
It's more than just good music.
God is able to do just what he said he would do.
It's uplifting, intimate praise and worship. Featuring the latest in gospel. To exploring the word and sharing with Uganda's top gospel artists.
I am one of those most celebrated gospel artists in East Africa.
GXP is your one-stop for encouragement and blessings.
Praise and worship. GXP.
Every Sunday only on NTV, your official inspiration station.
Do you know people were even greeting and bowing for me?
I made that possible.
When greed consumes all.
Chief, all I'm telling you is to please stay away from this bakery. Run! Chief!
Now, Kiriki, if you want to threaten me with something more tangible. Not police, we have been seeing police.
The stories are telling.
Message from the Holy Spirit.
Watch African drama every day, rising with the sun. AfriPix on NTV.
This is NTV.
Welcome back. You're watching NTV on the spot on NTV. Charles Mwangusha sitting in for Patrick Kamara. And we have Jean-Bertrand Basimwa, who's spokesperson of the M23, and Jean-Baptiste Rudaseswa, who is the legal advisor for M23. I put a question to you just before you took the break.
De la guerre au Congo. Ça signifie que nous n'avons pas été à la base de la guerre. C'est le gouvernement congolais qui a pris l'initiative de la guerre, il a choisi l'option de nous faire la guerre, nous nous sommes défendus. Et comme vous le savez, chaque fois qu'il y a la guerre, évidemment, il y a des déplacements de la population, et il y a la population qui fuit vers les pays étrangers et vers d'autres zones qu'elle estime beaucoup plus sécurisées. Et nous, depuis que le gouvernement nous fait la guerre, nous lui demandons d'arrêter cette guerre parce que c'est une folie de pouvoir nous faire la guerre, nous qui sommes une partie de la population, parce que simplement, nous lui demandons de respecter ses engagements. Vous savez, l'accord du 23 mars, dont nous parlons, a été signé par le gouvernement congolais et les différents groupes armés et mouvements politico-militaires, contre-signé par un représentant de la CIRGL, un représentant des Nations Unies, un représentant de l'Union africaine. Donc nous n'inventons pas des choses. Nous disons au gouvernement de respecter ses engagements, tout simplement. Il a choisi de nous faire la guerre. Sommes-nous responsables de cette guerre? Il faut poser la question au gouvernement congolais. Pourquoi il nous fait la guerre qui jette sur les rues, dans les différentes rues, des populations civiles qui fuient, qui détruit des infrastructures du pays et qui tue des Congolais. Et pendant cette guerre, il y a la misère qui continue à s'accroître dans le pays. Tout ce que nous avions demandé au gouvernement congolais, c'est d'arrêter cette folie et d'aller sur la table des négociations. Nous nous réjouissons aujourd'hui que le gouvernement congolais ait choisi la voie de la raison. Ça signifie la voie des négociations. Vous savez, cette négociation, nous l'avons payée au prix cher. Parce que le gouvernement congolais nous a dit, vous voulez la paix, ok, vous voulez négocier avec nous, ok, retirez-vous de la ville de Goma. Nous sommes retirés de la ville de Goma parce que nous avons pensé que c'était le prix. Nous l'avons fait parce que nous croyons à la paix, parce que nous croyons dans les négociations et nous pensons que ces négociations sont l'unique voie pour nous amener la paix au Congo.
Yeah, we want to make this issue very clear. We are not fighting and we are not the cause of the fighting that is ongoing today. The war was imposed on us by the government. We had no other choice than protecting ourselves and act in self-defense.
In this ourselves means who? Who is ourselves in this case?
Well, I mean M23.
M23. I'm asking the question, who does M23 represent?
The M23 represents everybody who aspires change in the Democratic Republic of Congo, people who have been victimized by this government and the previous government since independence. M23 represents whoever has hope in change in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
That change causes the displacement of between 500,000 and 800,000 people, close to 1 million people, then you are not actually fighting for change. Let me say something that Laurent Kunda, who was leader of CNDP, said on August 6, 2006. He said, thirdly, it's fairly long text, and he says like this. Thirdly, I want us during this meeting to remove the curse that blights our country. It stems from the blood that has been spilled over us. This is a biblical curse from the time of Cain and Abel. And he says, you must try and stem this. And he's talking about a meeting that focused on a particular section of the Congolese population.
I can comment very much.
In August 2006?
Yes, I didn't read this statement before. I do not even know the context in which he said these words. But whatever the case, he was not saying that the curse was brought upon to Congo by his movement that he was leading, or by the subsequent movements that came out of the movement.
He's talking about something that started in 1964. He was referring to another meeting in 1964.
Yeah, exactly. Because actually Congo has never been a country that is organized, that gives to its people what they expect to get from it. That's why they have been wars and wars.
My question is, how are you actually standing in to try and solve this? Between 1996, when we told we started the revolution that brought the father of the current president, Laurent Desire Kabila, into power, 2000. I'm sorry, I need to pick the call on the line. Robert from Montinda. Robert, we can hear you.
Good evening, Chuck.
Good evening, Robert.
I would like to ask the spokesperson of the rebels.
Yes, please.
Why are they protecting the Tutsi in Congo, or they are protecting the genocide people from Rwanda who entered Congo?
Could you explain exactly?
What I'm asking is, we have had some reports saying that those who are fighting, protecting the Tutsi who are in Congo. The Congo Tutsi is not the Tutsi of Rwanda. Again, they're saying that Rwanda is protecting Congo because of the Bahutu who are there fighting the government of Rwanda from Congo. May they please clear us what's happening?
Thank you very much for your question, and have an answer from them. Which specific group are you fighting for? Is it the ones of Rwanda or the ones of Congo? Can you speak, James? You answered once. Let's speak, James. James, yes, we can hear you.
Hello?
Yes, please. What is the question?
Hello?
Can you move away from it?
Okay.
Yes, and then put a question or comment, make it very brief.
Hello, am I live?
Yes, we can hear you. You're live.
Okay. Now, I want to welcome those gentlemen who have been to present us.
Yes, go ahead.
And I wanted them to highlight some of the main issues they could be addressing about maybe what they are doing. No, where they are underprivileged and what, because we think of course, they are human beings.
and they should be respected in their own culture. They should be listened to, not previously because of being called negative questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for the question. Can you Moses from Kasese? Moses, go ahead with your question or comment.
My name is Moses Atagik from Kasese.
Yes, please.
I am very concerned about these M23 rebels, the way they arise from their distance. Bring peace and change in the Democratic Republic of Congo. We have over time seen this. This younger man, Joseph Kabila, just came in recently, using the name of the father because of Scotland. But I still believe that all these governments have forces to deter this group, the M23, should stop either way. Let them go and continue, because these are, how do you put it, because the Gaddafi used to go in the revolutionaries. How do you know this? This boy has served, if he can you imagine the boy didn't even have an institution where you have an arm which can defend you. You just run into another country to get defense. And that is the country. Let the boys come in and take over.
Thank you, Moses, for your comment.
Thank you, my brother.
Let's come back to you and the time you answered these questions. Robert asked the question from Mutinda. One, which Tutsi group are you fighting for? Number two, the involvement of the governments of Uganda and Rwanda in your latest conflict.
Vous savez, au Congo, ceux qui sont tués tous les jours par les FDLR et les LRA ainsi que les FDL, FNL, les mouvements rebelles burundais, sont des Congolais, sont des femmes congolaises qui sont tuées, qui sont violées tous les jours. C'est des citoyens congolais qui sont tués. Évidemment, il y a une certaine particularité par rapport à la population Tutsi du Congo parce que au Rwanda, elle continue à être tuée également au Congo. Et la particularité encore, c'est que le gouvernement congolais les expose parce que le gouvernement congolais diffuse sur sa télévision du matin au soir, sur sa radio du matin au soir, des messages de haine, des citations à la xénophobie, qui se passent à longueur de journée, de 8h jusqu'à 13h de l'après-midi. Ces messages-là passent avec deux animateurs bien connus, Lushima et le député Zakari Babawaswe. Ce genre-là diffuse des messages de haine. Alors, quand il diffuse ces messages de haine-là, qui stigmatisent la communauté Tutsi du Congo comme étant des citoyens rwandais, des étrangers, alors à ce moment-là, qu'est-ce qui se passe dans les quartiers? C'est que tout le monde les prend en chasse. Et ça c'est très grave. Mais nous disons ceci, il y a un problème de gouvernance dans le pays. Parce que être élu par la population ne signifie pas avoir le droit de vie et de mort sur les citoyens.
Let's have him help us translate. I was looking at this UN report and saying senior officials of the government of Uganda have been providing support to M23 in the form of direct troop reinforcements in Congolese territory, weapons deliveries, technical assistance, joint planning, political advice and facilitation of external relations. But Jean, first give us.
I won't embark very much on the group of experts of UN and what they call findings, which are not findings actually. They are for us to take them as a fabricated evidence, as a propaganda, because you are aware, like me, that their coordinator, after media searched the work he did on FDR, which is a negative and a terrorist group, listed by the same United Nations. After these findings were out in the press, Steve Hague decided to step up. Now he is no longer the coordinator of this team. Because of this kind of
point about stigmatization and discrimination of the Tutsi community.
Well, this is a very well documented case. To answer the question that was put to us, we have no reason to fight for the Tutsi of Rwanda. Actually, maybe for his information, he may know that the government of Rwanda is responsible enough to protect its people, using the means they have and all the expertise they need. The people we are protecting are the people of Congo. We are Congolese. We are not Rwandans.
Okay. We're actually just raise the question about the main issues that are behind the reasons for your current struggle.
Yeah, to summarize it, it's the failure of the government to implement the agreement signed with...
Run through those key issues in the agreement that the government has failed to...
Yeah, I would start by the failure to repatriate refugees that were chased away from their country since 16 years now. The failure of integrating the troops that were formerly troops of CNDP and other armed groups following this agreement of 23rd March. The failure to put in place a structure in charge of reconciliation as it was written in the agreement.
Let me just ask one last question, which is related to the peace talks going on in Munyonyo. Are you guys here for serious talks, or these are the kind of possible time spent in Kampala and the conflict will resume?
Nous croyons en ces négociations et elles ont commencé depuis le dimanche passé. Aujourd'hui, nous sommes en phase d'étudier les modalités de ces dialogues et je crois que les choses évoluent très bien. Et nous avons foi en ces négociations. Nous pensons qu'elles vont aboutir à la paix et à définir également un nouveau programme pour le développement du pays.
Yeah, on our part, we are very optimistic. We have come to this talk with a positive spirit. We hope that whatever we discuss will be concluded by an agreement that will be signed between the parties. But as you know, it takes two to tango. For us, we are open. We have requested the government to come and talk with us. We are happy that it is animated by the same spirit. Now we are dealing with preliminary matters, the documents that will be guiding us throughout the talks. And we hope that the outcome will be as expected.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for making time for the show. But thank you very much. Making time for the show. Thank you very much, Jean.
Thank you. You're most welcome.
Yeah. Thank you very much to all of us for joining us tonight. And that's the end of On the Spot on NTV. Have a good evening.
This is NTV.
Very warm welcome on the spot. I'm your host, Patrick Amara. No more Pioneer Easy buses on the streets of Kampala. Commuters are stranded. The Uganda Revenue Authority this morning impounded 100 buses over the company's failure to pay taxes amounting to 8 billion shillings. Now, many commuters within the city who had gotten fond of the company for its relatively cheaper rates are quite upset by the action. Tonight, we are joined by Pioneer Bus Company's director, John Masanda, and a public transport consultant, Aiden Mutebi, to unravel the cause of the problem. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Aiden, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, John.
Thank you.
You know, when you began operations in March last year, you promised city dwellers much better transport, comfort, and all this. Just 1 year down the road, or even not 1 year down the road, you cannot keep that promise. Why promise if you cannot keep that promise in the first place?
First and foremost, would like to start by apologizing for these circumstances we find ourselves today. It's something which is external to us. It's been 12 months since we started operation. The way we commenced the operation in itself were really unconventional. It was a directive from the government. The government itself had not met some of the obligations which were in the contract that we had signed. Also, 12 months down the road, there was a petition to Parliament. The report of Parliament came out. It had key recommendations on what the government had to meet or to implement. All these inactions and non-actions by the players in the government has affected our operations and the performance of the service that we had promised to the citizens or the customers in Kampala.
But for you as Pioneer Easy Bus, which is a business, for failure to remit taxes to the government, which is expected of you, does not reflect any business acumen at all. How can you run a business without remitting taxes?
You're not further from the truth, Namara. The reality is, as an enterprise, when it comes to tax, we are basically a conduit. This money has to pass from one pocket. The customer who's our passenger, if he cannot put it in our pocket for us to put it in the revenue's pocket, the revenues are not there. The business model, as earlier envisaged, collapsed. We had obligations which were granted in the contract. We were promised dedicated bus lanes. We were promised gazetted bus stops. Our buses are operating like matatus, massa or parking. This is not a typical bus service it's meant to be.
You cannot be firefighting now when you stood on top of anywhere and said, here we have come, we're going to revolutionize the transport industry in Uganda. Road, you are coming with an apology. Hello, Ugandans deserve better.
It's true. That's very true. The promise was premised on the obligations of the government. If the government did not deliver, we have no basis. The whole model collapses. Exclusivity on the routes that we were to operate. In these routes, we have other buses operating. If you look at our licensed route like Mukono, we have the coasters operating. We have the other matatus operating. We have all other means of public transport operating on the same corridors. How do we get the numbers which were envisaged in the first place? Furthermore, the congestion in these corridors, it's too much.
Okay, let me bring in Aiden. You've worked in the transport business further field, I suppose, in London. What do you think went wrong, and how could they have done it better?
Thank you. It all goes wrong right from the start. Ideologically, you can't expect a private company to offer a public good. They are started up for different reasons. Private companies start to make profit. Public goods make profit or not. If Pioneer was a public company without even any profit, even today it would be on the road, because there is an obligation to provide a public good. It all goes back in a government policy, I presume. where you have a free economy. Start a business, operate. When you fail, go out. Another one comes in, he tries his luck, he fails, he goes out. And that's the story. But in developed countries, call them economies, there are vital things that government could never let out to public, to like a private to run.
Like transport? Transport,
a good education, and health. Those are critical. You need a healthy, alive population to do a job. You need people to get to where they are supposed to go to do a job. If you can't guarantee those, you need an educated, skilled work generation to do a job. That's why government should have very keen interest on those three factors. But they left it to the people like Pioneer. Pioneer is not failing just because of its failings, failings of its own making. It's operating within a system that it can't work in. Actually, I was lucky to know when we were starting to operate, and I told them, you will be lucky if you operate here. Very lucky. I told them. Because what is telling you in the contract, they wanted a public, a bus lane. True, that is needed for a public transport.
But wait a minute.
Yeah.
Aiden and John, when you ask for, are you talking about changing the entire system, road network of Kampala?
No, that's an absolute lie. We can have bus lanes in Kampala. It's only having the policy right. But if you have a city council that wants to get money from parking, the already narrow roads, you prioritize parking.
So, but when you're talking about the narrow roads,
and you put parking more.
Aiden, I just want you to unpack this for Ugandans,
yes.
Whoever is listening to you.
Yes.
If we already have narrow roads, how are we going to be able to have the bus lanes, the matatu lanes, and maybe the ambulance lanes and all these kind of things?
No, you have enough road. Because when people talk of bus lane, it doesn't mean that the whole stretch of the road is going to be a bus lane. There are priority areas where you know there is going to be to this one to go. Like once you reach Ginger Road, you don't need a bus lane because the traffic can move. It's only those few spots. But if you want to have roadside parking, give priority to roadside parking, then having traffic moving, then that's a problem.
So let me ask you, John, did you really cut out any due diligence about before embarking on this business, or you just jumped to an and here you are, the thing is holding you by the neck?
No, we've been in transport now coming over 15 years.
But listening to Aiden speak, it looks like almost you had no idea of what you're getting into. He almost sounded like a prophet of doom, said, you'll be lucky if you work for a year. And yes, there you are. So where is your business acumen? Where is your experience? Where is your background in all this business?
Yeah, as I mentioned, we have a benefit of operating transport business over 15 years. And specifically 5 years of that has been specifically bus transport within Kampala, where we had a successful pilot using about 15 buses on the corridors of Mukono, Gayaza, and the Kajansi route. This was part of what also enabled us to have a successful bid and negotiate into a contract. The bid documents which were given to us were specifically, and they had a statement of requirement which were clearly spelled out, which was also premised on a World Bank feasibility study, and it had the clear demand analysis on the various corridors. It had a clear route designs. It had a clear number of passenger on all these corridors, all outlined. And they were the assumption, the underlying assumptions, which were the premises, which were later adopted in the contract. And it was assumed if a party is the concession for that specific corridor, he'll have the exclusivity. So if a corridor like Ginger Road has 130,000 passengers per day, but you're licensed, but you're not the only operator, you'll end up operating at 50% or 40%
So
capacity.
when you operate at 50% or 30% below the expectation, and you're talking about the World Bank, so I assume you even got these buses, you had a loan. So I suppose you got a loan, and the loan, the interest is accumulating, you're not even paying taxes to the government. So what is going to happen? Where are you headed?
Definitely, at the end of the day, as stakeholders, will have to come on the round table and meet. The only unfortunate thing which has happened, we've never been on one table with all the stakeholder players in the government side. But we believe this is what has to happen immediately, because the approach and outlook of the various stakeholders is different.
Let us at this juncture bring in an official from Uganda Revenue Authority, and we hear from him what they're demanding from Pioneer Easy Bus. I think it's Mr. Waiswa. Okay, we seem to have had a technical fault there, and we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll bring you Waiswa. Tell us exactly how much money are they demanding from Pioneer Easy Bus. And when you came on board, you promised 500 buses in the next 3 months. They never went beyond 100. Even the 100 have been having technical problems. So empty promise after empty promise. Is that your modus operandi? Don't go. We're taking a break now. Don't go away. Okay. It looks like my producer is having a problem with the technical problems after another. So I think I'm going to put you together with Pioneer Easy Bus. Because you two, this bag has hit you.
No.
So you beg to devour. You're saying you could do better. When you came on board,
yes,
you promised 500 buses after a few months. And everybody was happy to see 100 buses. You painted the city yellow, and everybody was, in fact, they nicknamed them Chibaluma, because the taxi operators were feeling you had come to take away their business. But even the 100 buses did not come. That was also another empty promise. The other 500, yes, just before that, Aiden, I'll come back to you.
Yeah, we brought in 100 buses, and even by the time in December 2011, just before we hit the road, already there was a petition in Parliament, and the Parliament committee stopped commencing the operations. Barely 3 months into that stoppage of operation, we were given another directive by government to come in and alleviate the strike of Utoda, who were going to stop their services. So we had to step in at that particular time. After that, it as the rest of the people know what really has been happening. So we've been thrown there at the deep end. We've been operating in that uncertain environment, and typically, if anyone is to do an investment, the key word which comes in is risk, and risk simply means uncertainty. You're operating in an environment where things are really not defined. You have a contract which states this, but you have a practical environment you're operating which is on the opposite direction.
Okay, Aiden.
So you can't put more investment to it.
Aiden, when you look at these buses, they are operating more like matatus, more like the kamunyas we have on the streets. Are these buses or matatus? I mean, does it even save us in any way when we have a 60-seater instead of having an 80-seater kind of bus?
Maybe
if you get a good deal.
A warm welcome to NTV Weekend Edition. I am Josephine Karunji Musisi. In the news tonight, a girl is tortured to death by her parents after they find out that she is pregnant. In profile, Dr. Margaret Mungera, the first African woman to be elected as president of the World Medical Association. We have her story, but first we begin with the headlines. He served the country. Government mourns the passing of the president's father, Amos Kaguta.
She's the second African to take up the position of the presidency of the World Medical Association. I'm also told to bring in this week's profile Dr. Margaret Mungera, how she has managed to rise to the top.
Nigeria and Botswana had their last feel of the playing surface here at Lugogo ahead of the 2020 World Cup qualifiers here in Kampala. Join me, Asha Komgisha, with the details of this story in this bulletin.
Once again, welcome to NTV Weekend Edition. He is being described as a mentor, inspiration, and man who has left behind a legacy. That is the tribute being paid to the president's father, Mzee Amos Kaguta, who passed away at 7 o'clock this morning at International Hospital, Kampala. The media has also been requested to respect the family's privacy during this period. Earlier, the government spokesperson Mary Karoro Kurut spoke to NTV.
With deep sorrow, has learned of the death of Mzee Amos Kaguta, the father to His Excellency President Museveni. He was 96 and he passed away early today in the wee hours of the morning at Kampala International Hospital. Mzee Kaguta was a great father, grandfather, and steward who has mentored so many people. He has been an inspiration and he has been a very great disciplinarian, and he gave his children a foundation. The nation has missed the passing away of this great icon, and we shall all miss him, but he has left a legacy which should be emulated by all. We shall be announcing the burial arrangements as soon as the family is ready with the program. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
Mary Karoro Okurut. Now, President Yoweri Museveni has promised to handle the outstanding demands for the people of Acholi sub-region in northern Uganda. Museveni was meeting the Acholi members of parliament in a closed-door meeting held at the Cabinet Library yesterday. The chairman of Acholi Parliamentary Group and Aswa County Member of Parliament, Regan Okumu, says Museveni said he was ready to resolve the political differences that exist between the Acholi leaders.
I thought the president yesterday was in a good mood in the chat. He looked like somebody on the verge of a serious campaign and preparing himself for another term of leadership.
Okumu Regan is the chairman of the Acholi Parliamentary Group. For over 20 years, the Acholi leaders have kept criticizing President Museveni's government, accusing him of neglecting the sub-region. But in a meeting described as a U-turn by President Yoweri Museveni towards the region, the Asa County MP says it was a good gesture that something could be in the tunnel for the community.
Because in the process of that chat, we agreed that there are some substantial issues that we need to address as a sub-region with the government of Uganda. And these substantial issues are going to be the issue of PRDP theft. And we told him that would be of substance to us, the issue of land. Then the third thing is the issue of nodding disease. Our people deserve the PRDP money. They deserve to be compensated for the losses they had. They deserve that their land be protected and not grabbed. Like the Amoro land, has become a hot cake. There's problem of land in Lamore County. There's problem of land between Aru County and Agago County.
Okumu tells NTV that the meeting lasted for 2 hours in the Cabinet Library. It comprised of all the Acholi members of parliament, irrespective of their party affiliation, and ministers from the Acholi sub-region. Okumu says the president agreed to reschedule another meeting in which they will discuss the Acholi demands extensively. Key on the agenda would be the compensation claim to the war victims in which he says would range in trillions of shillings.
And when we talk about compensation, we look at some of those things because people really lost value items. And one will not talk of billions in the value of Uganda shillings now. If you talk about billions of dollars, yes. But if you talk about Uganda shillings, we are talking in trillions, of compensation, which as a legislator, I know the government will not have.
The other passionate demand to the president is the outstanding payment to the war veterans.
Government had a policy to recruit home guards, and they recruited over 20,000 home guards from the Acholi sub-region to help government fight crime. And in the long run, some of these home guards were integrated, all of them were integrated in the military and taken to help government fight their war with Rwanda in Congo. So all these now turn out to be veterans.
The Defense Minister, Dr. Crispus Yonga, yesterday told Parliament that government owes war veterans up to the tune of over 2 trillion shillings. Jingo Francis, NTV.
The members of the Acholi parliamentary group nearly traded blows at the Peche Stadium in Gulu town this evening after a meeting called to address people of the region on the PRDP funding was aborted. The disturbance started when Kila County MP Gilbert Olanya accused NRM of colluding with the police to make the meeting that was initially supposed to take place at the stadium flop after a football match interrupted it.
This is how this government behaves, you know. So, we need to talk to our people. Our people are suffering.
Back here in Kampala, police have bust a racket of dealers in car number plates and arrested 4 men in Bwaise. The suspects are said to be part of a gang that changes number plates of vehicles used in robberies. Cyril Biarhanga has that report.
This man, who was identified as Ronald Mujenyi, was arrested at Bwaise for allegedly fixing fake number plates on vehicles. Ronald led detectives to his shop. He apparently did not have the keys. A forced entry revealed a rich stock of spare parts. The detectives discovered more number plates and photocopies of car logbooks. The detectives are trying to sort the number plates and see the ones that are matching. And of course, here in Mainja zone, it is alleged that it could be a hub for most of the number plates got from vehicles that could have been stolen. After the detectives searched the area for about 45 minutes, they left. But later, returned in what locals called a surprise visit. More number plates were discovered from this shop, but the worker says they were plucked from old taxis, which they buy. Some chassis and engine numbers were also discovered.
In most cases, when you're going to buy a car, take note of the chassis, where they put the chassis number. Get a mechanic of your choice and try to do a thorough screening, a thorough checking where they normally place the chassis number.
The suspects in this racket reportedly buy old taxis, jack off the number plates, then fix them on new stolen buses before selling them to unsuspecting buyers. The suspects also change the seat covers and windows. According to detectives, it's very hard for a buyer to detect that the car was stolen. The police even discovered a Rwandan number plate in this operation.
We have information, so after we've combed the Kampala, then we shall start rolling out other areas.
The detectives also searched a neighboring shop dealing in spare parts and found more number plates. It's alleged that the suspects connived with criminal gangs that use the cars for robberies. According to the police, it's illegal for one to remove and keep number plates from cars that are not in operation. The number plates are supposed to be returned to the Uganda Revenue Authority or kept with the police. The suspects were taken to Kawempe police station, but it's not clear when they will be taken to court. Sudil Biarhanga, NTV.
Police in Jinja have arrested the parents of a girl for allegedly torturing her to death. Michael Muumba and his wife Naziri Muumba allegedly beat their daughter Eunice Magoba after suspecting that she was pregnant. Magoba died at Jinja Hospital where she had been rushed for treatment.
Magoba Eunice was well yesterday but got badly beaten by her parents, leading to her death. Police say her parents beat her up because they suspected she might be pregnant.
According to intelligence information, is that they have been actually torturing this young girl. So her death is not yet clear. That's why we have come in to investigate. And that's why we have arrested the parents.
Magoba has been living with her father and stepmother, who neighbors allege have for a long time been torturing her. Some of the neighbors reported that yesterday's beating was way beyond the routine. The couple, however, denied that the beating could have caused their daughter's death.
From December.
Magoba was a primary 6 pupil at Buwenda Primary School. Her parents are in police custody as the case is investigated further. Acting OC Bogere Pade, who visited the scene, says such acts of abuse against children are on the rise in this area.
Because now this one is the 3rd person to have been tortured, and now 2 cases right now as I talk. The suspects have already appeared in court.
Well, that story brings us to tonight's NTV Weekend Poll, where we are asking what measures should be taken to reduce the rising cases of child abuse. I repeat, what measures should be taken to reduce the rising cases of child abuse? To have your say, text 8778 followed by your name and your location. We shall be reading some of your comments during tonight's newscast. Now, the Association of Ugandan Fuel Dealers is expressing concern over a proposal to purchase fuel directly from Mombasa in the wake of the election fever in Kenya. The dealers claim the proposal by the Uganda Revenue Authority requires that they pay their taxes in advance, which they say would cripple their businesses. Reno John reports. Well, that story will be coming your way shortly. Let's take a short break.
You don't have the calling. Medicine is not the right place for you.
Meet Dr. Margaret Mungerera, to whom the medical profession is a calling rather than a job. And your weekly dose of laughter in Point Blank. NTV Weekend Edition continues after this short break. Don't go away.
Ideally, we all have the right to express our opinions and views truthfully and openly.
Atele lom tugenda katongole mbukasam.
Kampala bwerere mwasomo the bus.
The discussion is still going on in the bus.
Tulino kugumira challenges ezimu bwe tuba tulino goba abatembeyi mwami lukwaga agumaga abatembeyi mugende.
Never.
No, mbadde ndala kuyo
mbadde njala kunyonyola omwami yagambye nti meya Lukwago ye meya omutuufu.
Gavumenti ekutte Lukwago emunyigira mu nsonga takyekyusa.
Welcome back to Minibus. Kyogereko.
Teko omusajja abankwana nga njagala sifa ku kya ssente. Wabula nfa ku mbeera yeeyisa.
Alimba ono.
This is Minibus.
Kyogereko.
This is NTV. Land like we do. So tune in every day at 6 p.m. and Fridays from 11 p.m. for the best in homegrown music. Only on NTV, the station that celebrates local music talent.
Kwene embeera y'abasajja bano essuubi nga lyakuggwamu mama. Bano abasajja abanaatera n'okujja kusigiriza ffe ekiro basituleko emiwumbo gy'emmere bagitwale.
Sogera byange.
Welcome back to NTV Weekend Edition. We begin with responses that you sent us for our NTV Weekend poll, where we had asked what measures should be taken to reduce the rising cases of child abuse. You can have your say by texting 8778 followed by your name and your location. Some of the responses that we have received so far, we have John Paul Lule, who says sensitization of the public about children's rights and being everyone's watchdog. Austin Mukama says collective care as communities. We should all watch out for those who abuse children and report them. And Sisi Lutalo says, let us go back to the drawing board. Raising children should be the role of the entire society. Members of the society should keep a keen eye on one another for proper upbringing of the children. Thank you for your responses. We will take a look at some more towards the end of this bulletin. Now moving on, patients can now hold the Ministry of Health and health workers accountable in cases where they have failed to deliver services in health centers. Now this as the Ministry of Health launched its client charter, spelling out its full duties and responsibilities to the public. Irene Namialo followed up that story.
Is widely disseminated.
Uganda is one of those countries in Africa well known for coming up with very good policies and strategic plans to deal with emerging situations and systems. But the implementation is always a problem. The National Health Policy in the Health Sector Strategic and Investment Plan stipulates the right systems and models to service delivery in Uganda. But the policy may not be useful to many because of its complexity and inaccessibility to key stakeholders. Today, the Ministry of Health launched a client's charter which spells out the ministry's responsibilities and aims at strengthening accountability in service delivery.
Within here, the targets that they can use to gauge us. So it's a translation of our key strategic objectives in a language, simple language that somebody can use and know what to expect from Ministry of Health.
But for this to be achieved, the charter should be widely disseminated, especially to patients who are its primary targets, for them to know what to expect from the ministry and health workers.
But one of the things that has been mentioned in here is something like patients being treated with dignity. And if you go to a facility and you're not treated so, you can hold that person accountable by saying, look, the government commits itself to treat us with dignity or with equity, where people who need the services the most should get them.
This is an open document where feedback is expected from the end users, and the ministry will periodically review and give timely feedback on what it has successfully achieved. Irene Namyalo, NTV.
These are the most important things.
The Association of Uganda Fuel Dealers is expressing concern over a proposal to purchase fuel directly from Mombasa in the wake of the election fever in Kenya. The dealers claim the proposal by the Uganda Revenue Authority requires that they pay their taxes in advance, which they say would cripple their businesses. Reynald John reports.
Uganda's market requirement for petroleum products are estimated at nearly 80,000 litres, but the existing inflow of fuel is approximately 60,000 litres daily. Fuel dealers are already expressing fears that the current slow supply may further dwindle as Kenya goes to polls next month. The 2007 Kenyan elections turned violent, and there are fears that this one too may turn chaotic.
If the dollar goes up, the fuel prices are also going to go up. And the fuel prices are already gone by 100, 200 shilling per litre. And by the time we reach to the shortage, we are going to go back to a couple of years ago where people were selling fuel 10,000 shilling a litre.
However, the Minister for Trade and Industry, Amelia Chambade, says Cabinet's position is to ensure that Uganda's imports at the Kenyan port are cleared quickly.
Ministry of Energy is supposed to stock reserves in ginger. That one I cannot speak for, but at least it's in the plan.
We discussed this issue last year in our meeting with the petroleum ministries, and we said, look, Kenya is coming to within election in March, something has to be done.
Yesterday, the Uganda Revenue Authority announced that a mutual understanding with its Kenyan counterpart had been reached to support fuel importers draw the product directly from the port of Mombasa without any interruptions.
On our part, as mentioned earlier, especially the people who deal in fuel, KRA has been able to work with URA to allow the people bringing in fuel to load from the port of Mombasa.
But the fuel dealers have rejected all the overtures by the leaders, saying the high tax regime on their imports is a deterrent to the option of stocking up products ahead of any crisis.
If I'm going to store 50 million litres of fuel, you imagine the amount of the money I had to deposit in advance at the border, either Malaba or Busia.
Relatedly, officials at Harried Petroleum, the firm contracted to refurbish the state-owned fuel reserve facility in the eastern town of Jinja, say the premises could be used to stock up fuel only later in the month of March. Reina Ojan, NTV Weekend Edition.
Let's now take a look at other stories making headlines across the country.
Directors of the Shumuk group of companies have been arrested in Kampala for fraud. The directors, John Sechewa, Joseph Simpala and Sarah Kayondo, are alleged to have issued suppliers with local purchasing orders to fraudulently get money from them.
One John Mugaga Sechewa, who is the head, the managing director of the company, has been telling all the suppliers and the service providers that the company belongs to Hoyts. It's an international company owned by Hoyts, and the Hoyts will be coming in to give money. And in that process, over 30 companies and individuals have been duped of their money.
The directors committed the fraud while working for a consultancy company in Tinder, which had reportedly been in debts. Investigations revealed that they have cheated people of money amounting to 4 billion shillings. Police are investigating this case. In other news, officials from the National Drugs Authority in Mityana district closed a pharmacy called Shreddy Pharmaceuticals for operating in unsanitary conditions.
Entered their pharmacy and they were engaged in the practice of dispensing and supplying those classified drugs. Yet they are not qualified to do the same.
They were arrested and taken to police for questioning. Meanwhile, anti-riot police had a standoff with a group of protesters who camped at the Tororo district headquarters. The angry residents who were protesting what they said was the grabbing of their community project and the embezzlement of funds by some individuals. However, they turned chaotic after police restricted some of them from entering the council hall. Only 15 out of over 150 were allowed to enter into the hall for the meeting, a thing that sparked off the protests.
The district 15 people. Can you have only 15 corner inches to get a project? A multi-million project of 1.8 billion?
Police intervened and dispersed the rowdy crowd. And finally, Wari Telecom donated over 3,000 jackets to Kampala Capital City Authority in recognition of the hard work they carried out to keep the city tidy.
We hope that these reflector jackets would kind of increase the safety and visibility of the staff who are working very early in the morning, and would bring in a lot more safety both for the staff as well as the riders who are out there early in the morning. And
she is the first medical worker to be elected honorary president of the Uganda Medical Association since its formation in 1963, and now is the first African woman to be elected president of the World Medical Association. Our profile this week is on none other than Dr. Margaret Mungera, who describes the medical profession as a calling rather than a job.
Calm and relaxed at our office in Mulago, Dr. Margaret Mungera, one of the founder members of the Association of Uganda Women Medical Doctors in the late 1980s. She is currently the head of the World Medical Association, a position that she took over in 2012, a year after she was first approached to take it up.
I've been telling my colleagues that this is ours as Uganda, but I'm telling my African colleagues that this is really our time and we must make use of it. We want to advocate for more resources to the health sector. In many of our countries it's not happening. Financial funding is still a problem, and we can actually advocate for this to improve through the World Medical Association.
She left Butaleja Primary School education for Gayaza before joining Makerere University to study medicine. She holds the responsibility of the clinical head, Directorate of Medical Services, Departments of Internal Medicine and Psychiatry. She is also visiting psychiatrist for Uganda Prisons Medical Services and was appointed by President Yoweri Museveni as a member of the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into the Global Fund for HIV and AIDS, TB and malaria.
By the way, if you don't have the calling, medicine is not the right place for you. If you don't have that calling, you don't feel that this is your vocation, where you should be, then I think it's frustrating if you join medicine when you don't have the calling.
She deservedly takes pride in her profession accomplishment.
Being president of the World Medical Association probably is icing on the cake. I think I've reached the highest I can be in my profession. And you know, I'm in charge of, I'm doing a bit of administration work here in Mulago, so I'm what they call a clinical head, in charge of 3 departments here.
The doctor is married to Richard Mushanga, a retired banker, and has an adult stepson and 4 granddaughters.
Well, you know what, I was not fortunate to have children, but my husband has had children and we have grandchildren. But I have so many other things that are my children, and all my relatives are my children, all the people. My relatives in Bunyoli are my children in Butaleja, so I really...
This is one of her biggest regrets, and it was not the only difficulty that she has to overcome.
But there are sad moments as well when I see patients, my patients when they are not doing very well, when I see my colleagues, when I see what is happening, especially for our health workers. Many of them are working in very difficult circumstances. That makes me sad.
To succeed and to overcome obstacles requires dedication and perhaps a role model. For Margaret, her inspiration came largely from the medical field.
Professor Rain, you know, the Professor Dabelas, those are the people, some of them are here with us and we still admire them. Those are our mentors. We look at the women doctors and we look at people like Professor Florence Mirembe.
Her happiest moments are her wedding day and the day when she was installed as the president of the Uganda Medical Workers Association.
I got married. I think that was quite exciting. That was a very exciting time. And my husband, Mr. Richard Mushanga, is a retired. That time he was working in the Bank of Uganda, and that was an exciting moment. When I got married. I sang at my wedding, and so that was an exciting moment.
She is saddened by the attitude of some of the workers in her profession that have given health services a bad name.
But I think what we need to focus on is our patients, and know that wherever you are, as long as you are serving your patients, you are doing well, and that you are doing your vocation. But I think many of them don't lack the mentors, and I think for us we have a role to play as mentors.
During her free time, she spares some time for the Rotary work. Her dream is to see a medical world that inspires the youth to join it. Maurice Ochol, NTV.
Now, with this biting credit crunch, Ugandans are devising ways of making money. In our weekly dose of laughter, we bring you a young man who has been allegedly conning men by passing himself off as a girl, and part 2 of Honorable Sam Yomoki's presidential ambitions.
His ears bite off.
Hey! I am the man who can just look at the woman and she gets pregnant. Where did you train from?
You should leave issues of the generals to the generals.
You want another rap? Yeah, Susan!
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I bring you the hidden talents of visionary leaders. That is Peter Sematimba for you. Had he been voted Lord Mayor, there would be no more quarrels at the Kampala Capital City Authority. Show them! Show them, Petero. Thank you. Thank you. But the Lord Mayor is also a good dancer. Every good dancer has to get off the stage. And just remember, gentlemen, that all the power belongs to Jennifer Msisi. But we are happy.
Experience.
While you dance and enjoy nyama choma, people in Kampala are so poor that they have resorted to doing very difficult jobs to earn a living. This boy has been pretending to be a girl to get money from men.
I think men were running after him, thinking that he's a woman.
But how old is this crafty boy?
18 years of age. He's a Baptist.
But Afande, take a close look. I don't think this is a man. Some catwalk, please. Afande, this is purely a very well-endowed, slender, and nice-looking young girl. Get more details, please.
He's a man. Are you a man or you a woman? You're a man.
With nice-looking legs, beautiful necklace, plenty of makeup in her bag. You need to convince me, Afande.
Photograph the man.
Ay. Beautiful face. Afande, I am convinced she is a beautiful girl. How did you come to a conclusion that she's a man?
You have seen the artificial breasts he puts on, and the back and the bums.
Ah! You went as far as touching her breasts and bums? It brings back memories of the Ingrid Tunawe incident. Some of you police officers really like breasts. May I also have a look?
Check properly.
Officer, leave the lady's bum. Oh, nice hips, nice bums. Feel them, officer.
What are your hips?
To manage this country, you have to be a visionary leader. Honorable Sam Yomoki, you announce you are going to take over from President Yoweri Museveni. Will you manage this kind of society?
Because Jesus lives, as long as the anointing falls upon me.
Can you manage our strong and popular president?
I'm handling this situation, the David versus Goliath way.
Aren't you scared to contest against such a strong president?
I cannot be scared because what I'm involved in is a godly matter, is a calling, is a ministry.
But since you came out of prison, you surely must be scared.
And the more prison I'm put, the more fire and the more strong I become. Because that's the furnace that is going to pug me to make sure that I become more and more godly.
Are you sure, Mr. President?
I become more committed and I become even more, resolute.
You are not as popular as President Yoweri Museveni.
If we had an election right now, I would definitely win. The people tell me, just continue.
All right, self-made pastor, let's have a short prayer.
The time has come for a new leadership in this country. This president is there for just a few years, 3 years, or I don't know, but according to your purposes, you have shown us clearly that the time has come for him to go.
But since you are also a good singer, shall we 1, 2, 3 begin?
And because I know he holds the future and life is worth it.
Dr. Sam Lyomoki, get some solidarity from your colleagues.
Solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong.
Agnes Nandutu, point blank.
Just because he lives. Yes, because Jesus lives, I can face tomorrow.
Point blank with Agnes Nandutu. It's time now for another short break. When we return, Joel Kamadi will have the very latest in sport.
Kwene embeera y'abasajja bano
essuubi nga lyakuggwamu maama
bano abasajja abanaatera n'okujja kusigiriza ffe ekiro basituleko emiwumbo gy'emmere bagitwale sogera byange kibanza bana bagambanga ne bagamba ne bweyagala nkubulira ebyange jja tugende emyanzi
mpulira banyumya babeera bakujerega waliko omusawo w'ekinansi e South Africa baba bakujerega ebituufu
baba banjerega oyo mufere mubbi yennyini yeetaaga miggo omuntu wa bulijjo tomuzannyirangako abeeranga dormant volcano
bwemba mukkiriza nina takuwa mugiyita
ate takuwa gobeera mugoberezi tolowooza nti muli mulimo gwonna oyogerera omusiraamu singa naakubuuza nti katonda yagamba bw'ati yagamba atya
oba oli pasita ng'okyawa olimba obba oyenda olina abakazi basatu please heaven is waiting for you. One day you'll pay and soon your time is out.
Otiisa moni.
Sitiisa. Nkubulira Yesu talimba.
Ebintu mbimala mulundi gumu. Kati what is I love peace.
Gwokola byo.
Wegase n'omusajja mutwale mabi.
No one feels the motherland like we do. So tune in every day at 6 p.m. and Fridays from 11 p.m. for the best in homegrown music.
What happens in the next 90 minutes? This one promises to be a classic.
Welcome to NTV Weekend Sport. I'm Joel Kamadi. Nigeria and Botswana are set for the Africa 2020 Championship beginning tomorrow morning in Kampala. Defending champions Uganda are upbeat ahead of the task that should see them finish among the top two to make it to the ICC World Cup Global Qualifiers in September.
It is less than 12 hours to the start of the Africa 2020 World Cup qualifiers in Kampala, where 5 nations are eyeing 2 slots in a round-robin competition. Newcomers Botswana are ready for the tough task ahead of them and are confident their youthful side with an average age of 23 years will handle the big stage.
You can only be, there's a bit of nerves, yes, because I'm sure every team has some nerves, but there's a quiet confidence as well. We just hope that we can play as well as we can and leave it out on the field and win some games.
Botswana open against Tanzania tomorrow morning at the Lugogo Cricket Oval before resting in the afternoon, but will face Nigeria on Sunday morning. Nigeria has been in Kampala for a week playing friendly games against local sides and the Uganda national team. Trials, they say, have helped their side acclimatize.
You know, everybody in this tournament would love to win, and believe me, we are going all out to do our best, and we are taking one game at a time.
5 nations will be playing to finish among the top 2 to make it to the Global World Cup qualifiers to be hosted in the United Arab Emirates later this year. Team Uganda right behind me are under pressure as defending champions and as the hosts of this competition. Asha Komgisha, NTV Sport.
Now, to tell us more, joining us in the studio is batsman for Team Uganda, Arthur Chobe. Arthur, you're welcome to NTV Weekend Sport.
Thank you.
Arthur, which of the teams, apart from Kenya, are posing a threat to Team Uganda?
Well, all teams come into this tournament with an aim of winning, and I wouldn't pick on any other side, but all teams are really up to it.
And what are your chances against rivals Kenya in the opening match tomorrow? Because we know Kenya are the biggest threat in this competition.
The chances stand 50-50 because everyone comes to win the game. As we said, everyone has prepared, and from the past we've been playing well with Kenya, and I think we're going out guns good and we'll play hard to win.
How much pressure are you facing from the managers and fans and probably even yourselves as a team?
There's not really any pressure. The only thing is to stay on the top. Being number 1 is one thing and staying at the top is another.
Now, Arthur, what is at stake as Team Uganda for this tournament? In terms of rankings, will we see, if you win this tournament, will we see you top, go somewhere in the world rankings or be ranked in Africa?
Exactly, yeah. It's a global qualifiers like Africa. And if we win it, our rankings will go high for the Africa region.
What's the value of Patrick Ochan's inclusion in this team?
Patrick Ochan actually did not come. He's in Australia. But if he was around, he would do better, I think. He would do good as any other bowler. But the boys we have probably will do the job well.
Now, as Uganda, as a cricket team, we never see ourselves on the international scene. Truth be told, what should we do to get there? Is there something we should do? Is there something we're not doing as Team Uganda to be recognized on the international scene?
The something you're talking about we're supposed to do to get international cricket is already done. Probably at the moment we have some of the best coaches in East Africa and who have played in the RCC tournaments, Steve Tikolo and Martin Suji. They're doing so well. We have them through all the year and we train on a daily basis, so we're doing everything right. The boys are in great shape and everything is good.
Do you see yourselves winning this tournament?
We've come guns hard and we're going to do the best.
I've been speaking to Arthur Chobe, batsman for Team Uganda. Now, to football matters. In the FIFA Super League, fixtures today had table leaders Kampala Capital City Authority Vipers and defending champions Express being held as Sports Club Villa registers a win to cut the lead to 3 points. Alfred Odong captured the controversial 2-2 draw between KCCA and Bull at Lugogo. The Capital City Authority dropped 2 points at home as Bull, formerly Bidco, came from a goal down to take a lead before settling for a controversial 2-2 draw. Herman Waswa gave KCCA the lead in the first half through a free kick. The second half produced 3 goals, Aziz Kemba levelling for Bull before their skipper Patrick Asiku chipped this in for the ginger-based side to take a 2-1 lead. Tempers flared in added time after KCC were given a penalty, and it took the intervention of the police to see off this official as Herman Waswa scored the game's last goal, to which the final score. In the other games, Vipers played to a 1-1 draw in Buikwe, Yunus Sentamu and Anthony Bongole being on target. Kira Young lost to Sports Club Villa by 1-2. Lawrence Nduga scoring for Kira as Ronald Muganga netted 2 for the former league winners. Waterhill defending champions Express was scoreless draw but stay rooted at the bottom of the table with only 4 points from 18 games. The league continues on Tuesday. Now, Yako Yusila and Ashraf Bukenya were up for a weigh-in exercise ahead of their intercontinental welterweight professional kickboxing fight at Freedom City tomorrow. Bukenya has been studying his opponent by watching his previous fights and hopes to take advantage of being at home to register a win, as Alfred Odong reports.
Yako Yusila weighs 61 kilograms, one less than Ashraf Bukenya, who is hoping to make an impressive show in his first international fight at Freedom City tomorrow. Yusila has 13 wins from 16 bouts and looks to returning to Finland with a victory against Uganda's Bukenya in a 10-round welterweight match in Kampala. Bukenya has 3 fights to his name in the paid ranks and believes this is an opportunity to prove his abilities before starting to lobby for a title challenge later this year. Unlike him, I'm very fortunate I've been in position to watch his videos. I'm now ready and I should be in position to register a win tomorrow.
My workplace in the ring. I'm not scared or stressful or anything. It's a normal Saturday for me.
6 undercard fights, including Abu Chikenwa taking on Finland's Shamil Seflia in the super middleweight bout, will grace the night. Ashraf Bukenya will be making his maiden appearance on the international scene with a fight against Yako Yusila from Finland, who has fought 16 times. A win for Bukenya will better his chances of securing a title bout later this year. Alfred Odong, NTV Sport.
And that winds up NTV Weekend Sport for tonight. But Josephine will be back with your comments from tonight's NTV Weekend Poll, so do stay with us.
Very good build-up. He's right in the thick of it now. He picks the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity. Unbelievable! He can't believe it either. If you're watching this at home, that's how it's done.
To become a Guinness VIP, register online. This is NTV. This is NTV. This is NTV. This is
When we meet people who are different from us, we tend to ostracize them.
Enter the taxi, some people get out because an albino. The seat will annoy you.
Yet it is these differences that bring out our individual uniqueness. Fear,
coming between life and death. I was scared.
Despair.
In the battle, I was shot through the head and I lost my eye.
The daily frustrations endured from the people around us are disheartening. But then, the light shines bright on those who are not affected by our differences.
Love ky'ekintu ekikulu engito oba mulamu oba alina obulemu ku mubiri oba talina mwemanga mwagalana.
Life stories. When we meet people who are different.
Welcome back to NTV Weekend Edition. In tonight's NTV Weekend poll, we asked what measures should be taken to reduce the rising cases of child abuse. More of your responses. We have Dunstan Bamwesije, who says the answer to that is always one: eradicate poverty. If people are educated and have jobs, that means they can afford to put food on the table for their children. They can afford fees for school, good homes and clothing. With any of these missing in a child's life, child abuse becomes inevitable. Susan Pinto says enforcing laws of child abuse and any domestic violence. If you are caught abusing your child, it is either jail or your child is taken away. Some kind of child protective services. We need to protect our future leaders. And finally, Medad Tusingwire says, in most cases, it is rampant where parents have separated. Let the government set up village courts to settle family matters so that the children are not neglected. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us in those responses. Let's take a quick look at Saturday's projected weather. And that weather report brings us to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for your company. From myself and the team behind the scenes, it's good night. Join us again same time, same place tomorrow.
This is NTV.
When we meet people who are different from us, we tend to ostracize them.
Enter the taxi, some people get out because an albino. The city will know you.
Yet it is these differences that bring out our individual uniqueness. Fear,
coming between life and death. I was scared.
Despair.
In the battle, I was shot through the head and I lost my eye.
The daily frustrations endured from the people around us are disheartening. But then, the light shines bright on those who are not affected by our differences.
Love kyekintu ekikulu engito oba mulamu oba alina obulemu kumiro batalina mwemanga mwagalana.
Life stories. The party begins with 3 seasons under our belt. We show no sign of slowing down on the hit.
Let's go! Let's go! 1, 2, go! I want to exchange my words with yours. Hold on. Just 1 minute.
And on a video, the ones and twos means on camera.
Log in for the glitz and glamour of Kampala's most flamboyant people and events.
In your face.
Keep it locked. Log in.
What's up, NTV? Log in.
Yo, this is Dr. coming in live on your TV. Log in.
Log in only on NTV.
If you want to succeed in business,
look for your talent, prove it.
You should have interest.
From day one, I was feeling that I can do something from my own.
If you've been working for people for all this time and all this time, then there should be a problem with you.
But for us, we give you what you want.
The act of lifting term limits was an act of meticulous constitutionalism.
The government of Uganda can't just watch.
This has been told us why he's abandoning his constituency.
I'm saying that the problem is here.
Call out the elite.
Therefore, this whole issue, I call it nonsense.
Confusion. You don't need problems in NRM.
We'll take lessons. The stakes in Eastern Congo are very high. There is no law in Uganda that stops even a member of opposition from holding a gun. Yes, they are. They've been there since the stocks there. They've been there more than any other country.
To be honest, it's one of the most scary genres of music for me.
For me every day.
Irifemasi nisu tadi magero.
No one feels the motherland like we do. So tune in every day at 6 p.m. and Fridays from 11 p.m. for the best in homegrown music. Only on NTV, the station that celebrates local music talent.
This is NTV. This is NTV. This is NTV.
My God is good, yo.
It's more than just good music.
God is able to do just what he said he would do.
It's uplifting, intimate praise and worship. Featuring the latest in gospel.
Good evening and welcome to NTV Sports Bar, your trusted source for the latest sports news, views and analysis. And coming up on the program tonight, we look at URA's performance away to Cotton Sport in Cameroon, the National Cross Country Championships. We will review the UEFA Champions League and also look at the games that are coming up over the weekend, including the big one in Italy where AC Milan take on Inter Milan. This is the Sports Bar. Welcome back, and I'm Patrick Kanyomos, your barman, and in the bar tonight I'm joined by the usual suspects, Brian Tuka and Aisha Nasanga, but more importantly we have a guest in the bar. Haj Edrisa Sesanga Magala from Uganda Revenue Authority, former manager, one of the founders of the football club, and was the gentleman that led them to Cameroon, where they drew with Cotton Sport. Haj Sesanga, you're very welcome to NTV Sports Bar.
Thank you very much. Good evening, viewers.
All right, and well, before we get to Haj Sesanga to take you through our topic today, Arsenal are on the verge of going through another season trophyless, and we are asking, do you think it's time up for Arsene Wenger? Give us your views on that topic. You can send them to Facebook, just like our Facebook page, and you'll be able to post your comment there. Alternatively, you can follow us on Twitter at NTV Sports Bar 1. We'll be receiving your tweets, or you can also give us those texts. Type Sports Bar, leave a space, your comment and your name, and send it to 8778. Arsenal on the verge of going another season trophyless. Do you think it's time up for Arsene Wenger? Quickly, Bran Tuka, welcome. Do you think Arsene Wenger should be backing up? Of course, your opinion won't have any bearing because the board has already said that he's not going anywhere.
Thank you, first of all. Of late, I think you're doing a better job as a barman. Appreciate that. It's okay. It's not an enhancing drug. It's a safe drink for me. I don't think anyone's opinion clearly counts, because if it did, I think there are people who are millionaires who have said something and their opinions don't count. But that question for me clearly didn't do it for me. I think Arsenal are going to go through another season without a trophy. I don't see them winning anything. They can't overturn that 3-1. I just don't see it happening. So I think Arsene Wenger, my problem I have with him, he's done a great job for Arsenal. But where football has gotten is, you don't remind people of the past. You've got to show them where we're going. And the statements you keep making. For example, today he came out and said the Champions is not about money, it's about pride. So if we lose out, it's not about the finances, but us playing there. Clearly, I just feel if you're an Arsenal fan, you're just getting more angry at the man. But I think for me, if he's not going to change the way he thinks, if his school of thought is not changing, then Arsenal, I've got to let him go, but it's a hard puzzle for me.
All right, then, Aisha, if you were making the final decision, would you sack him?
Yeah, at this level, yes. But unfortunately, like Brian was saying, I do not have a say at all. But the Arsenal fans are going to have to wait a little bit longer, because even in that board meeting, he doesn't talk about retiring anytime soon, and the board itself seems to be a little bit happy, unless of course something changes along the way. So it's good to go down to maybe if he starts signing a little bit better, the results might change. Football has developed, and you kind of think football is a result business, but I think for Wenger and like some of the managers that have been around the league a long time ago, they have that sort of leeway and can get away with a whole lot of issues. So he could be sacked, but not by the board as it stands right now. They do have belief in him and faith in him, but I think they should start by just changing a few things, and just that could be like the signing policy.
I think the Arsenal issue, well, lastly, I think is an ironic one, because why are we talking about Arsene Wenger being sacked? I mean, the guys who gave him the job are not even thinking of sacking him, because whose problem is it? Is it the board or is it Arsene Wenger? I mean, there are lots of questions to be asked.
Okay, well, we will get back to that discussion, but if I mainly put a discussion here on the local scene was the fact that Uganda Revenue Authority Football Club went to Cameroon and played against Cotton Sport in the CAF Champions League and were able to get a draw from Garua. And Haj Sesanga in the studios tonight was in Cameroon, and well, he was helping them, especially with the language, because they speak very good French here. But Haj Sesanga, briefly take us through how Uganda Revenue Authority Football Club were able to get that draw, which is going to be important, especially going into the second game of the return leg in Kampala.
Yeah, thank you very much, and I'll also thank you, Mr. Berman, for hosting URA here.
Yeah, meanwhile, your drink is here, and it's safe for
Thank you very much. I see you are filling up the glasses all the time. First of all, viewers should realize really that URA is now having a new face, and under the stewardship of Mr. Carter Paul, latest. I think I saw his first game, international game. He used all the tactics to make sure that he plays like somebody playing on an away kind of arrangement. Cameroon team is very good. In fact, some of you are going to see it here. They have 6 national players, and they have some 4 people from Togo. It was Togo, then you have Ivory Coast, and then 3 Nigerians. They played all of them, but it was like our tactic worked very well.
Okay.
And that was, let us force them into a draw, but we had some clear chances. In fact, we would have won that game. But Nkata has brought something new to the team.
Okay, well, the URA officials were not happy with some of the decisions, especially, I think there was a clear penalty, and you didn't get the decision?
I would say that the referee for that day was a very good man, because it was like he was balancing. They also had that some opportunity. Then he came our side. So it was like he was balancing. I know in refereeing anything can be what, and the referee has the final word decision. But to have the whole kind of analysis, it was like URA played a very good game. In fact, I'm expecting the same to be reflected here as we are getting the next game.
Okay, and Ugandan sides that have been to West Africa have often complained about the reception. How was your reception?
Oh, let me talk about the reception. First of all, we reached Garua, no, Douala.
Douala.
That's where we had our first stopover. Then they bring somebody who speaks only French. Good enough, I know, I know how to speak French. So I had to take him through all our expectations. And he took us to a hotel which was not so good. And given the whatever the standards that are advocated by FIFA, I thought it was not the best hotel. But I know that the games they are playing before the Rio 90 minutes. So from there, we took a plane the next day to Garua. The conditions are so harsh. The weather is bad. And it's a Rio desert, you know, it's bordering Chad, you know. So even the training pitch was also a problem.
Okay.
It was like it could take you some 30 minutes just to get your breath properly. Otherwise, the dust, the whatever. But I know I've ever been there, and I was telling the boys, let us this time show these guys that amidst all these challenges, let us play our game. And good enough, they also realized that really we came there to play the game. Remember, we were there the other time, they hammered us 3-0. So they made our return journey very, very difficult. But this time we said, let us finish the whole game in Kampala, in Nambole.
Okay, now focusing on the return leg in Nambole, that was a good result, especially if you're playing away in West Africa. What are you doing as a club to make sure that you get the desired result at Nambole?
Yeah, today we had a serious strategic kind of plan. The executive had a very serious meeting, and we gave the technical bench all the facilities they wanted as per their budgetary whatever implications. And I know full management from full support from the management of URA, the SIG herself, because she's the patron, the management of URA, the staff, they are all saying now if you could get a good result the other side, let us support you both financially and otherwise, so that we can beat the Cameroonians this time and we progress. And I can assure you, this time we are making it.
I've got 2 questions, I think, about the game on the pitch. First of all, what do you think you did different? Because you were in Cameroon 2007, lost 3-0. So that's not the only time you've been in on the African continent, and you've, I think, been below par, like we expect from you. What exactly is URA's strategy as a club in terms of both starting from the local scene and also going continental? But 2, do you clearly understand how deceptive a goalless draw is? Because if Cotton Sport arrive here and they score first, you are in trouble. They've got to score 2 goals to win the game. Do you clearly understand how deceptive 0-0 is?
Yeah, you are right on that matter, but I know the moment you draw on an away pitch, it's like you have an equal opportunity for both teams to qualify. And I think if we can just change a little bit, like on the attacking option, I think we can beat these people. And they used all the players, so it's like we know them. And at the same time, there are some people we didn't take to Cameroon, and these are strikers, you know, the Uganda, those guys. So I think we are going to use them this time. And this is a game of just scoring. The first person to score will take it. If the visitors score, that means we need like 2 or 3 goals. But I know with the confidence I have in the team and what I saw in Cameroon, members, I think this time we are going to make it.
Okay, and are you ready to go a step further? Because you've not gone past the, I mean, you've gone past the preliminary rounds, but you've always fallen at that step. If you go past Cotton Sport, are you ready for the challenge ahead?
Oh, now it's like I should inform all the viewers that this time around we are saying URA will now make it, because we have a new URA, I should assure you. Number 2, we had some numbers that were disturbing us, like the striking, So it's like we are putting all these people, and I know, given the coach that who has come and is now testing all his potential, I know we are going to make it.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Idrissa Sesanga Magala from Uganda Revenue Authority. Well, he's been here speaking to us about that game in Garua, Cameroon, which Uganda Revenue Authority drew with a Cotton Sport, and the return leg will be played on the 2nd of March in Kampala, and URA will definitely need the support of all Ugandans. Well, we'll move away from URA, and at this point, we'll turn our attention to the sports ID. Like I say, we check whether you can tell your sports stars from the time when they were young. And this is our sports ID tonight. Well, that's our sports ID, and if you know who that is, please give us your answer on Facebook. Just type the name of the person and send and post it on our Facebook page. We'll be getting the right answers. But the clue is that he celebrated his 50th birthday over the weekend and is one or the greatest basketballer of all time. So I think I've already given you the answer.
I actually had no idea. There's only one greatest basketballer, but maybe the clue can be the influences had on the African American in the USA goes beyond the courts of basketball. It just goes through all spheres.
Okay.
I think almost everyone.
I think everyone is going to get this one right. But we are going to go into a break. When we come back, we'll be looking at the other stories making headlines on the local scene. There was the National Cross Country Championships in Jinja, and then there's a big cricket tournament that gets underway tomorrow, and Uganda is hosting it for a second time. But we'll also be focusing on international football later on the show. But for now, let's go into the break.
This is NTV.
The act of lifting term limits was an act of meticulous constitutionalism.
The government of Uganda can't just watch.
This has been told us why he's abandoning his constituency.
I'm saying that the problem is here. Call out the elite. Therefore, this whole issue, I call it nonsense.
Confusion. You don't need problems in NRM.
We'll take lessons. The stakes in Eastern Congo are very high. There is no law in Uganda that stops even a member of opposition from holding a gun. Yes, they are. You've been there since the stocks there. They've been there more than any other country.
The act of lifting term limits was an act of meticulous constitutionalism.
The government of Uganda can't just watch.
This has been told us why he's abandoning his constituency.
I'm saying that the problem is here. Call out the elite. Therefore, this whole issue, I call it nonsense.
Confusion. You don't need problems in NRM.
We'll take lessons. The stakes in Eastern Congo are very high. There is no law in Uganda that stops even a member of opposition from holding a gun. Yes, they are. You've been there since the stocks there. They've been there more than any other country.
My God is good, yo.
It's more than just good music.
God is able to do just what he said he would do.
It's uplifting, intimate praise and worship.
Come on.
Featuring the latest in...
Welcome back. This is NTV Sports Bar, and we are going to look at the other stories that have made headlines on the local scene. And starting with athletics, the National Cross Country Championships were held in Jinja over the weekend, and Moses Kipsiro was one of the outstanding runners in that event. The athletes were seeking to be included on the national team that will be taking part in the World Cross Country Championships, which will be held in Poland, and Moses Kipsiro getting back to winning ways, claiming victory at this event. in Jinja over the weekend, although it wasn't a good outing for Dorcas Nzikuru. But the good news is that they've both been included on the national team that will be in Poland for the World event on the 24th of March. Aisha, Dorcas Nzikuru, another poor outing for her. But good enough, she has a chance to redeem herself on the national team.
I think on the overall, she's really fallen in hard times, and a lot of people are going to write her off, and rightly so, because I think the time she was supposed to pick, she went and had a kid, and all that happened. But I think on the overall, she was in that race, the steeplechase, one of the best at that time. It was a fairly new one and had the ability to go on and dominate it for a couple of years to come, which she did not, which she failed to do. And now there are all these Russians, there are the Chinese running that particular race, and it gets harder by the minute. And the years are not exactly on her side, so it's going to be hard for her even on the second time around to qualify.
Well, Moses Kipsiro was in Amman, Jordan, and was in Puerto in Spain. And this is going to be the third time for him at the World Cross Country Championship, and he's been off the scene for quite some time. Do you see him getting back to where he was?
I think he can, and he's done something that is different actually from most of these athletes, by the way. Even I think Kiprotich is going to struggle to stay as relevant as Moses Kipsiro has really done, because this guy, first of all, is lucky. He got a few connections that can help him go to Europe and have runs. And actually, he's more famous than anybody here. I mean, Kiprotich could have won gold, but this guy is more known than anybody else among the athletes down here. So, given the conditions and the situation in this country, you've got to really work on yourself so hard as an individual as you wait on to some other help. Because what Dorcas Nzikuru now is going through is that you give birth, if you don't have the right plan after, you're in trouble. Because now the people who are helping her were helping her because first of all she was a star. She won a steeplechase championship. So everyone was looking at her as the next best thing. Now after that, everybody has forgotten her. So if you don't work on yourself as an individual, being that athletics is an individual sport, you're going to be in big trouble. So I think Dorcas has clearly lost it a lot. If she's going to turn herself into something else, she has a lot of work to do. For Moses, I think it's high time that we remember what the guy has done, and now that he won the race, clearly, you've got to give him credit for what he's done. But there's not so much read into this. How competitive are the guys they're running with? How determined are they? Those are big questions to ask. So when they are put among us, the guys who are going to represent us beyond Uganda, can they compete with the other guys? Because the other guys clearly are competing with better runners than the Moses Kipsiros are in Uganda. So it's tough.
All right, and definitely Moses Kipsiro will be seeking to improve on the bronze medal that he won in Amman, Jordan, in the same event, but this time it will be in Poland. And now, talking matters cricket, Uganda is hosting the ICC T20 Africa Qualify event. The games get underway tomorrow. They will be played at both Chambogo and Lugogo. Uganda will be opening up against Kenya, and another opportunity for Uganda hosting this event back-to-back. And I was talking to Karashan, the team captain, and he said they are ready for everyone, of all the teams that are in this event, more especially in Nigeria and Kenya.
Yeah, and they've gotten some good workouts in between there, because they've had an opportunity to play Nigeria, who came here very early on. Before that, they'd gone for a tour down in the UAE and got in a couple of games, not only T20 version, but I think even the 50 versions as well. And they always win at home. They seem to have strengthened their squad. They've brought in one or two who you would call naturalized Ugandans, because they've got links to Uganda, and was something that we've not done before, because before we had predominantly all Ugandan, as in guys that have these names, the Kanyomozi names and all. Now we've got a Khalid somewhere, we've got Chaudhry as well. These guys, their parents were Ugandan, so eventually they become Ugandan by virtue of that, and they've got some experience as well. Arthur Chove, has played some semi-pro cricket, and it's got to help you, especially if you're coming up against opponents that you've played before on so many occasions, Kenya being one of them. And it's a round robin, so anything can happen in there.
Well, Kenya, of course, will be the team to beat. And interestingly, the Kenyan captain was at King's College Budo for his high school, so he knows a thing or two about Ugandan cricket.
And isn't it shock or isn't it ironical that our assistant coach is Kenyan, is played for Kenya?
Both, because Martin Suji and Steve Tikolo.
Actually, yeah, and Tikolo in particular, as I think, if not the greatest, one of the greatest cricketers that Kenya has ever seen. So it's an ironic one here, but we couldn't have had better preparation for this. Going to United Arab Emirates, bringing a few guys, I think, from one of the IPL teams in, I think, is it
Chaudhry?
No, I'm talking about the IPL team, one of the coaches from the IPL team. Skipped my mind. So we couldn't have had better preparations. And actually, I was asking myself why they decided to take our first game to Chambogo. And a colleague of mine did correct me on this and said the wicket favors the Ugandans. It really works for them. And in cricket, that is enormous. And it's beyond believable when the wicket favors you, because you clearly know, are we going with the fast bowlers, are we going with spinners and stuff like that. So if the wicket does favor us in Chambogo, then we are good to go, because Kenyans are going to be, I think, our biggest opponents in the T20. But we should be good for this. If we could beat Namibia, then we should be good enough to beat Kenya.
And of course, definitely Martin Suji and Steve Tikolo will be seeking to get the best out of these boys. But if you're not an ardent cricket fan, the T20 version is the most exciting. And the Uganda Cricket Association said there's going to be plenty of entertainment. So an opportunity for you who hasn't followed cricket to go and check it out, both at Chambogo and Lugogo. Well, we'll be turning to rugby, where of course, the changes that were brought in by the Uganda Rugby Union made it possible for the teams to go out early to seek positions or qualify for the semi-finals, because there was a change in the format. But before we get to the rugby, we have someone online in response to our topic of discussion. Hello.
Yes, Brian.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, Kanyamon.
Yes, who am I talking to?
Yeah, talking to Alan from Chitende.
Yes, Alan.
Yeah, I would like to comment out.
Oh, sorry, Alan, we lost you. Hope you can try again. Well, talking about rugby, the M10 Heathens and the Cobs already booking their places, and when this format came out, it was definitely going to be the two teams to beat, and they have already done that with 2 rounds to go.
Yeah, and we already have the 4 teams actually, because Buffaloes and Pirates are in there. So what we are going to see probably is competition for places. Who finishes third and who finishes fourth among Buffaloes and the Pirates, because clearly I think Heathens will finish top and Cobs are into second. But those are very interesting fixtures. Cobs there up against Pirates. If I think Pirates can pull a win here, then probably with a good margin, it could help them probably go. But it will be tough, because Cobs already have their, I think they've collected bonus points in each and every game they played. But the most important one is that Chadondo.
The Chadondo Derby.
Heathens up against Buffaloes. I mean, everyone expects Heathens to win. But can Buffaloes clearly...
Eseguia-led Buffaloes.
Eseguia-led Buffaloes and a couple of youngsters, because Heathens is almost Buffaloes, because most of the kids from their captain, even right now in, I think... Mubiru was part of the young team. They picked up already other youngsters in Philip Okorach and Okelo Alan. So clearly they feed the bigger one. We already know that Heathens can win, but can Buffaloes clearly scare us a little bit more by confirming how big a team they are of late and how much they've improved?
Okay, hold it right there, Bran. Let's first talk to Joseph, who is online. Good evening, Joseph.
Good evening, Patrick.
Yes, how are you, and what's your comment on our discussion point?
I'm an Arsenal fan. A very disappointed Arsenal fan for the last more than 3 seasons.
Yeah.
So I don't see any trophy coming this season. Yeah.
And do you think the Professor should be shown the
Professor, I think, has really done in his time. He should leave, like the Pope retired. I think the Professor should leave while we still respect him.
Okay, thank you very much, Joseph,
And
for that. Okay, that was Joseph, and that brings me to the other comments that we have on Facebook. Maros Tita says, yeah, because they are losing every game, while Washington Kazola says he thinks untouchable. And then Aaron Speed says Arsenal board has a problem, while Gamba Isaac says I don't think so, because if you look at Arsenal's current squad, it can do a good job, but only that they do have a belief, so Wenger should be given a chance, and also be given a chance to give confidence to his players. Alex Bigirwa says Arsenal is not a problem, but the board. Actually, without him, we would be more than worse. And then to Mwesije Anthony says, let them retain good players instead of selling them. The board is the problem. So many people seem to think that the board is the problem. But let's get back to the lines. And we have a caller online. Good evening.
Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening to you. Who am I talking to?
This is Alan from Rubaga.
Yes, Alan.
Yeah, I'm inquiring something small, eh? This is Alan calling from Rubaga.
Yes, Alan.
Yeah, from a cricketer, yeah? I'm inquiring, you knew some guy called Kenneth Kamyuka?
Yeah.
And he went to Canada to play cricket. Is he still Ugandan, or I don't know? He got citizenship that side?
Okay. Well, Kenneth Kamyuka.
It's interesting, by the way. The cricket rules are totally different from any sport. You can play for any national team, and then eventually, if you move to another country and live there, I think it's supposed to be 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
You can change nationality and play for that team. So Kenneth had been in Canada, I think, for over the time I was supposed to stay there, and I think the last time I heard, he was close, if not already, eligible to play actually for Canada. He should be playing for Canada.
And Arthur Chobe, if he stays for more 2 years, he will be able to play for Oman.
Because I'll tell you, Canada virtually at the, I think it must have been at the T20, is it World
Done in
Cup?
Dubai. But
They virtually had any Canadians.
But that's
they had Asians and Africans.
But that's what most teams are doing. Afghanistan had all these guys from everywhere. USA as well. USA had all these. So it's cricket is easier in that sense. We're also getting that. We're also doing that now.
Okay, well, back to the messages.
No longer playing for Uganda.
Okay, Tony O'Rourke says too bad for Ugandan Arsenal fans because the board has a 2-year contract extension lined up for him and £45 million transfer kitty for the summer. Chionga Ismail says in Asen we trust, but Tuka and Aisha should resign from the youth park coaching staff tired of losses. Then Oroma Harriet Barbara says let's not blame Wenger alone. I think the board too is to blame for the trophyless seasons at Arsenal. And then Twija Bijawija Emma says 0 winning ambitions, he should give way. And finally Athaire Doreen says the Arsenal board together with the coach should be fired. I am really disappointed.
Is Chionga kidding me? He wants me sacked, yet Wenger in Asen we trust. What is he trusting? If we can, we played 4 games, won 2 and lost 2, and it's been about the players for Whisper. For Wenger, it's got much more than that. This Arsenal issue, I think, for me, is a difficult puzzle. If the board goes, then Arsenal should go. Because for me, you can't tell me, this is not Ugandan football. I mean, if the board is not giving you support, why are you still at the club? I mean, resign if you're not giving support.
Okay,
it's simple.
maybe the only hope for the Arsenal fans is if Alicia Usmanov gets more shares into Arsenal, because he says he doesn't believe in the Wenger philosophy. But right now, the majority shareholder is Stan Kroenke, so things are going to stay the same.
And clearly, I don't think Arsene Wenger is a fan of Usmanov. Usmanov will bring a lot of change and probably trophies, because there's a lot of cobweb now in those boards.
All right, let's give you the answer to the sports ID that we asked earlier on, and this is our sports ID. Well, definitely, I think this was the simplest that we have had so
You
far,
gave away
and
the
many
clues.
people got it. But interestingly, someone got it wrong. Abitek Dennis says he's Magic Johnson, and then Bashir Fab got it right. Michael Jordan, and Mwine Andrew also says it's Michael Jordan, the greatest basketballer, I should say. And on that note, we're going to a quick break, but when we come back, we'll be reviewing the UEFA Champions League, but we'll also be taking a look at the big games that are coming up over the weekend. Like I said, there's the Milan derby, there's Man City taking on Chelsea, PSG up against Marseille, and there's that Copa del Rey game on Tuesday where Real Madrid take on Barcelona. All that and much more is coming up after this break.
My God is good, yo.
It's more than just good music.
God is able to do just what he said he would do.
It's uplifting, intimate praise and worship. Featuring the latest in gospel. To exploring the word and sharing with Uganda's top gospel artists.
I am one of those most celebrated gospel artists in East Africa.
GXP is your one-stop for encouragement and blessings.
Praise and worship is a strong component on GXP.
Every Sunday only on NTV, your official inspiration station.
My God is good, yo.
It's more than... It's party time every day at 4:30 p.m. Feel the music. Try out your favorite dance strokes. Watch the latest music videos from artists around the world as you dance to the beat.
Girl, you got me screaming fiesta. Body language saying whatever.
Only on the beat. Monday to Friday on NTV, your official groove station.
This is
The party begins with 3 seasons under our belt. We show no sign of slowing down on the hit.
Welcome back. This is NTV Sports Bar, and we are talking international sport. But maybe quickly before we get into the football, some of the big stories on the international scene. One was Oscar Pistorius, who has been in the news the whole week. He was granted bail today. He's accused of premeditated murder of the girlfriend River Steenkamp. And the other story was Serena Williams losing to Victoria Azarenka in the Qatar Open, but that didn't stop her from reclaiming the #1 spot in tennis. But now matters football. There was the Champions League midweek. Interesting action across Europe. In one of the games, Porto played Malaga, and it was an interesting one. Porto causing all sorts of problems for Malaga, although at the end Malaga were able to hold on. But Porto emerging winners quickly.
Yeah, Porto winning that. A very interesting game, by the way. I think Porto were excellent. They could have scored more. Malaga, of course, were undone. They feel, I think, Moutinho's goal was offside, something clearly. Of course, the Portuguese would not want to hear, but 1-0 lead going to Spain might not be a big one because Malaga has gotten some excellent results away from home in the group stages. The ones they picked up at, most especially at AC Milan. So I think a 1-0 lead is not too bad to take to Spain, and it's going to be a hard one because they're a very offensive team, the Portuguese in Porto. So we wait to see. Very interesting fixture back home.
Well, and at the Emirates, the game that got so many Arsenal fans talking and also formed the basis of our topic of discussion was between Arsenal and Bayern Munich, and Bayern Munich going all over Arsenal. And this came after they had lost to Blackburn Rovers, so it was a bad week for Arsene Wenger and Asia. Bayern Munich going into that lead so early in the game.
Can we first congratulate me for getting a perfect score?
Oh, by the way, you did.
3-1.
Yeah.
Bayern, you should clap for me. No, but game proper, I think a bit of Arsenal lost there. The fact that they conceded that early goal and a bit of a defensive mistake there. And once they got into there, because even before the second half, Arsenal had actually equalized in there, and you thought they were good to come back. Last weekend we were talking about this Bayern side and how good they are defensively as well as offensively. They have got the men to go forward, they've got the guns to go forward, and very creative at that. To think that Robin and Gomez were on the bench in this particular game for almost half that entire match is unbelievable, and they still have got men off the bench. So
I think apart from the result, it was shocking how Bayern did all these things with so much ease, and I totally agree with Frank Ribery when he said he was surprised.
Going to be that easy.
That easy, clearly. This Arsenal team has got a lot of questions to answer for me. The players seem like they just can't match any big side. Same thing has happened when they were playing Man City. They were almost playing with nerves at the start. Chelsea, same thing. They only had to pick up themselves. Now, Bayern never gave them a chance even to pick themselves up. So for me, there's lots of, I think, work to be done on this Arsenal team. And that's where the manager comes in. Nerves clearly have got to be worked on by the manager. The players are not going to pick themselves up. And the more the manager keeps saying fourth is a trophy for them, why should the players go and beat Bayern? Because if fourth is a trophy for you, then you don't have to beat Bayern.
And he actually admitted that it's going to be hard to stay in the Champions League, but it will be much easier to go back to the Champions League. But that meant that it will be easier to get the fourth place.
You know what shocks me about Arsene Wenger? He says things and contradicts himself. If you're saying the players are low on confidence, then you go ahead and say, if you finish fourth, it's a trophy, then what's the confidence for? I mean, you've always finished fourth, then go ahead and finish fourth. You don't even need the confidence. And this time around, by the way, for Arsenal fans, I think even Arsene Wenger, it's really going to be so tough for them to finish fourth.
But Aisha, Arsenal at least can look back to history and know that they have overturned a bigger defeat before, and they will be hoping that they will do the same at the Allianz Arena in the return leg.
And not only them, the thing is, it's pretty much going to be the very same Arsenal side, or probably even lesser equipped because Sanya might be out of that one, as per the reports. But I think what's there to motivate them to go out there and overturn the result, because the result per se does not, of course it sort of closes up everything and you think it's almost impossible to return from this, but how motivated are they to even go to the Allianz Arena and get a result? Because this Bayern side is going to be the very same Bayern side that was there. They've got a couple of issues, because I think Schweinsteiger will be out of that one, picking up a yellow card, a second yellow card in that one. Then, of course, their defense is not the very best. That Dante can be shaky. Domestically, I've seen him 1 or 2 times. They were playing without Bachtuba. So Bayern is not the complete side, but Arsenal themselves will not be motivated to go to Allianz Arena.
Okay, well, Brian, before you come in, let's first get to the line, and we have a caller online. Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening. This is Douglas.
Douglas?
Yes.
Yes, Douglas.
I wanted to correct you properly about Arsene Wenger. Arsene Wenger is not professor, he's just teacher. In French, we call him professor, la professeur. Yeah.
No, Douglas, what you should know that he is a professor of economics.
Actually, no, this is the issue. He's very right. Arsene Wenger is called law professor, which is teacher in French. The reason why it's called a teacher is because he's groomed so many footballers, and that's why he's attached to. But
he's also a professor.
Actually, he's not. He's got a master's in economics, but he's not a professor. He's very right. The caller is very right. He's not a professor.
Okay.
He's not a professor, just a teacher of football.
Well, Moving on to the other game was between Galatasaray and Schalke, and Didier Drogba making his debut in that game, though Schalke have issues to do with that, and they say they are appealing to the UEFA War Committee to see if Drogba was legally fielded in that game.
They're seeming like crying babies.
If they had won, would they have...
FIFA cleared this guy to play.
And if they had won, would they have had the very same issues coming up right now?
Yeah, but okay, from this game, looking at the return leg, it's delicately poised and it can't go either way.
It can, and like so many of the ties in the Champions League at this stage, you've got to think that they will have a shout out, especially when they are playing at home. You go to Galatasaray, the sides, they've got a big crowd that watches the game, and then of course Drogba really motivated for this one. I think it's still open, that particular tie.
And I think they probably the only reason why they're talking Drogba, they know how a big a threat he is to them, because he was in this one. He set up a couple of chances.
And they should have protested earlier.
Yeah, the striker I think wasted a couple of things. So DJ Drogba is such a huge threat, and if Galatasaray are going to go past Schalke, DJ Drogba has got to play a huge part, and that's why probably Schalke are talking this guy not playing for in the Champions League. It's shocking, by the way.
Okay, and then another game was between Barcelona and AC Milan. Barcelona going to the San Siro and totally obliterated by AC Milan. Well, it was a 2-0, but the way this AC Milan side played against Barcelona.
Shouldn't we have started with that?
And actually, there was a joke that Mario Balotelli claiming that he didn't play because the rules don't allow him to play, but he doesn't understand why Lionel Messi didn't play. Yet Messi was on the pitch for 90 minutes.
That's a good one. And the whole fact that probably Barcelona were 1 down in the fashion stakes by the time the game started because of that horrible away jersey of theirs. But Balotelli not in that one, of course, enjoying it on the sidelines with some of the guys that were injured, and of course even his girlfriend was there. He's much happier. If it can be noted, he wasn't this happy at Manchester City, I'd like to imagine. But on that day, of course, I think Balotelli getting one thing right in the fact that Lionel Messi was completely average. If you're ever going to see an average Lionel Messi, that was it, that night, because everything not working out. And I think a lot of 1 or 2 things that AC Milan did well. El Shaarawy pretty much getting Dani Alves out of this game. And when Dani Alves is out of any Barcelona game, I think
you've got to say that better. Not 1 or 2 things. AC Milan got everything right. I have never seen, since the reign of Pep Guardiola into Tito Villanova, now of course is still taking care of himself with the illness of cancer. I've never seen a team make Barcelona look clueless like Milan did.
But they never have a plan
it was
and
shocking and unbelievable because
played.
they got each and every tactic right. If you ask me to choose one outstanding player, I would not give you one, because every player from AC Milan, even the substitutes, even Bakayo Traore, who came on as a sub, I will not talk about Niang. Every player played his role, and Barcelona looked clearly clueless. And if you ask me, by the way, Barcelona out.
Okay, well, we have a caller. Good evening.
Good evening, Patrick.
Yes, who is this?
This is Acton.
Yes, Acton.
Talking about the Barcelona game. I believe there is something which is happening here that people are not realizing. The Spanish La Liga is having a problem of lack of competition. When you look at it, in the past, something like 12 years, we haven't seen any other team other than Madrid or Barcelona in the semi-finals coming from Spain. Which means that these big teams, which are very bigger than the smaller ones, keep on beating up on the smaller teams, and they create an impression in Europe that Barcelona and Madrid are so big that when they say Madrid is against Man U, you say, oh my God, Man U is dead. When they say Barcelona against AC Milan, you say, oh my God. Because you see Barcelona beating up on every team 5-0, 6-0, 3-0, and it looks ridiculous. Now what happens to Barcelona is that they come into this game and they have never tested anything like that they can be resisted. So they don't have a plan B because they have never worked it out. You have to get practice. You have to get a rehearsal of teams resisting you, so that when they resist you, you know how to open them. But now this team is resisting them, and they don't know how to open them because they have never seen it. They always just run over everybody, and they just defeat him. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is Arsenal. and Arsene Wenger. I think it would be a terrible mistake if Wenger went. I've seen some time back Liverpool said Benitez was not good enough, and they let him go. But at that time, they were playing in the Champions League, and sometimes they were second in the league. Ever since they let him go, they have never even gotten anywhere closer to the Champions League. So if you let Arsenal go, the question is, who is next? And I don't see anybody new who can manage Arsenal with their budget and lead them to the position that Wenger put them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Anton. And he raises the issue of Barcelona not facing enough competition in the home league, that's La Liga, and probably he says that explains why they didn't fare well against AC Milan.
I partly agree with, is it Patrick?
Anton.
But for Anton, Barcelona have won 2 Champions League titles in the last 5 years, I think, and have been, I think, in the 5 or 3 or 4 times. They are the best team in the world, not because they beat up teams in the La Liga, but because they beat up on everyone, including the teams of AC Milan, and of course they've had trouble. I felt Celtic should have picked up a point at the Camp Nou in the group stages. Celtic beat them up 2-1 at Celtic Park. There's a big difference between that result of AC Milan and the Celtic and the time Arsenal, I think, came from, is it 2 goals down at the Emirates, and they beat them 3-2, but Arsenal eventually were eliminated.
3-1.
Have you ever watched a game from the time Pep Guardiola took over Barcelona, where they are playing against a team and the opposing goalkeeper does not make a save for the entire 45 minutes in the second half, leave alone even the first half? I mean, this performance was beyond, I think, super. These guys just got each and everything right. And I think the competition might not be that big in Spain, because in Spain they're not going to play like the way AC Milan did. Teams will come out, they open up and play. AC Milan don't allow you to do that, but Barcelona will stand in the competition. They are a great team, and Madrid too are.
Okay, we have another caller online. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm okay, how are you?
Very fine. And I want to say something about the drama that is going on in the Arsenal camp. Actually, I think the problem would be if the 2 guys, Samanov and the Kayonke, were to put their acts together. Then you would have a stronger team going forward. You will have good business in the boardroom, because at the moment there is this perception that Arsenal is a club of shareholders. Their interest is about the dividends that they take home at the end of the season. That's why you see there is a belief that at the end of every season there has to be a player who will leave the club, because that player has been groomed. I've already seen talk from Barcelona. Some players are already suggesting that actually Jack Wilshere would be the natural successor of Iniesta. And I'm afraid at the end of the season, if Barcelona comes knocking, like it has been the habit at that, Jack Wilshere might just walk out of that team. So I think Manov and Stan Karonke need to put their house together, and then perhaps we'll be able to see Arsenal being stable and the money for the big transfers that everybody is looking for coming on. But at the moment, I think Wenger is still a very good coach. He will take that team forward.
All right, thank you very much for your comment, but I honestly don't see these 2 guys working together, because it looks like one wants to see the other out. But let's take another caller. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Who's this?
I think the problem is Arsenal. It's not about not keeping their players.
Okay, your line wasn't
Talk about those 2 parts. Apart from them, actually, one wanting the other out, there are 2 people from totally 2 different school of thoughts. Stan Kroenke, who's the majority shareholder at Arsenal, is the owner of Denver Nuggets in the NBA. Now, in the NBA, the way they handle their finances is not like the way you see clearly football, because they are very strict with the economics of the clubs.
You've got to have a
That's why they've got luxury taxes, they've got salary caps and stuff like that, which is not in football. Now, for Usmanov, he's a Russian billionaire with lots of oil. The man who will come first of all will take Arsenal as his toy,
almost
probably,
like an
then spend money the way he wants to, because he wants trophies. And remember, he will be saying, okay, we've got Roman in Russia who's already won something. Okay, I'm also here to win something.
Is that such a bad thing at this stage?
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. But if you come with a guy who's stingy and he got the club that he needs in Stan Kroenke, where things must move in a certain way. You see clearly, like the format of the NBA,
the Americans,
where there are
ones,
drafts, where there's everything. You just don't spend money.
Well,
So
I know the Arsenal debate can go on and on.
With tears.
But briefly, there are going to be big games this weekend and also early next week. So we picked out a few of the games that are really going to be interesting, and I will ask both. I will ask Aisha and Brian to pick out one game to talk about. To start with, there's a Milan derby. AC Milan take on Inter Milan, and then in the Premier League, the AC Milan-Inter Milan game is a Serie A match, and then in the Premier League, Manchester City take on Chelsea. PSG play Marseille, and the other interesting bit about this is that David Beckham might make his debut in this one. And then we have Real Madrid taking on Barcelona. Remember, the first leg ended 1-1. This is not La Liga, it's the Copa del Rey. So, Aisha, which game do you think will be more interesting?
I would want that Manchester City-Chelsea one. 4 points separating these two. City have faltered on days when you think they shouldn't falter, losing to Southampton convincingly by 3-1. One or two players returning to the squad. I think Gareth Barry company is still a doubt. This Chelsea side, you don't know what Chelsea side is going to turn up. Played well in Europe, but rested some key players. Lampard was not playing in Europe, and he's scoring the goals. He's the goal scorer now, and I think Chelsea would be good enough to
okay, and Brian, briefly and quickly, which game?
How mean are you to give me one? But let me say this. I'm talking about the
Milan. I want you to talk about only one game.
I'm talking about the Milan game, but there's something special about the PSG game. I mean, Canal Plus, the ones who are going to broadcast that game, have assigned a special camera for David Beckham. From the time he arrives, when he's on the pitch, when he one camera for only that man. Nobody else is going to be there. Now, Inter Milan, I think it's a battle of the young managers in Italy. Very interesting game. The journey that Milan...
Stramaccioni and Allegri.
Stramaccioni and Massimiliano Allegri. The journey that AC Milan have taken to beat in Barcelona. They flirted with the relegation. Now they are third. They've won 10 out of their 12 in the last few games. Stramaccioni on the other side started well. We thought actually they would be the main competitors to Juventus. They broke the unbeaten run, but it's been terrible for them. Last weekend they lost 4-1 to Fiorentina. It's going to be a tough one. They've already beaten Milan. In the first game, I think they won 1-0, is it?
Milan was terrible that time.
Inter won 1-0, and Milan were that, AC Milan were that bad. Now it's Inter who are in the opposite. So it should be an interesting one. We'll see if Milan, AC, that's it, if they can build on to that. But Inter are not going to be an easy one.
Okay, well, definitely big games, but you can keep part of this interaction because we keep it going on our Facebook page. All you have to do is like the page. It's NTV Sports Bar. Like it and you'll be able to take part in all this discussion. We do it all week, so you can be a part of it. Now, as we wind up, of course, Brian and Aisha joining me, Patrick Kanyumos, for the Sports Bar, but we always leave you with some sportsmen that have really done something for sport, in this case Ugandan sport, and we are picking out on a cricketer, Sam Walusimbi, one of only 2 Ugandans that have played at a Cricket World Cup, but he says that the biggest achievement was the fact that in 1972, after the expulsion of Asians, he undertook a campaign to form indigenous Ugandan clubs, and he individually went to schools the likes of Mwiri, Nabumali, Nyakasura to promote the game of cricket. So he's Sam Walusimbi, and he's our legend for tonight as we bring the bar to an end, or as we officially close the bar.
This is NTV.
It's party time every day at 4:30 p.m. Feel the music. Try out your favorite dance strokes. Watch the latest music videos from artists around the world as you dance to the beat.
Girl, you got me screaming fiesta. Body language saying whatever.
Only on The Beat, Monday to Friday on NTV, your official groove station.